like maintain the highest standard of civility. Let's get to our opening statements. Again, our question is, should America end birthright citizenship? Each debater has 4 minutes to make his or her case. And first up, answering yes to the question and saying America should end birthright citizenship, I want to welcome Horace Cooper. Horace is a constitutional scholar, a senior fellow with the National Center for Public Policy Research, and chairman of the
Actually, I wanted to look at a few things since work was crazy a couple yesterday, so that's the reason why I had to get back. I couldn't continue yesterday because I did something yesterday. So I want to watch Fired for Telling the Truth. But this guy, okay. Amarillo by morning, from San Antonio.
As a child, I was always so outgoing and was never afraid to share my feelings or express myself. However, as a young black man, it wasn't seen as acceptable. It wasn't until I lost.
Where are the celebrities? Where are the mothers? Where is Kim Kardashian? Where is Cardi B? Where is Taylor Swift? Where is Beyonce? 40 million people are about to lose their food assistance, and they do not care because they are part of the system. Wake up! Nobody needs Skims when they're actually skin and bone. Nobody needs 12 albums with the same music.
I'm gonna just watch these two, and then I will go and show you guys what I'm gonna do.
Wake up! They don't care. They want you to starve. Starve them. Do not buy their stuff. They want children to starve. Wake up.
There is nothing wrong with someone being on food stamps, okay? Y'all are highly mistaken
No,
to
I was
sit
just
there and
listening to something.
criticize someone for
That's
getting
it.
the help that they need for their family. And y'all keep coming for me because I've been on food stamps for the past 15 years. Do you do realize that I qualified for food stamps because of my income, right? Because I don't have any income. I haven't had income in the past 15 years, and I have been able to have my bills paid, my food paid for, and I'm in Section 8 housing. Okay? These are all programs that I'm entitled to because I do not make enough. Okay? So before you go and pass judgment on someone, realize that everyone's life situation is not going to be the same as yours. Okay, you might work 40, 50 hours a week and you might have income coming in, but there's people like me out here who don't have anything to their name that have to rely on these programs because they don't have jobs. What do you expect us to do?
I'm telling y'all, Trump is really taking y'all through there because this government shutdown thing going on now, they want to take government assistance from everybody, Section 8, HUD, and they not worrying about come Thanksgiving, come Christmas. 2 months, these people won't be receiving any government assistance to be able to feed their kids. They already starting it now. The money they working for is not covering everything.
Boy, 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 boy. So we got to continue our coverage of the possibility that food stamps are going to get cut off at the beginning of this month, starting on November 1st, if Democrats refuse to open back up the government. Now, as you guys saw at the beginning of this video, and as we've covered before, there's a full-blown meltdown on TikTok. I ain't gonna lie to you. A lot of these people who are melting down over this clearly are liberal. They're black, right? They're losing their minds, okay, over the possibility of losing their welfare benefits, again, due to the government being shut down by Democrats.
No, like on a serious note, like the real reason why they can't take my shit, cause how the fuck y'all gonna take this shit in November? That's when Thanksgiving and people eating food and preparing meals and shit and bringing potlucks and bring your own dish and bring a dish and fuck, like, what the fuck am I gonna eat? Some crackers? Some bread? What, all I'm gonna be able to get is some stuffing? Some cornbread? I won't even be able to go get me a motherfucking ham. Like, y'all gonna what? Huh? Trump come again? Cause y'all lucky I don't know where y'all live and I work at that tab.
Why y'all so worried about people losing their EBT? Like, not worried. I mean, like people who are celebrating people losing their EBT, like get a job and stuff like that. What does people getting EBT have to do with you? Like, what is it doing to you? Like, what is it taking out of your pocket? What is it? Your taxes and shit still gonna be the same.
Yeah.
So, why are you celebrating somebody losing something that has no benefit to you? I'm lost.
So you're telling me that someone in higher power decided that it'd be totally fine to take away SNAP benefits right before the holidays, and now they're talking about taking away our depresso espresso medications? So you're gonna make the majority hungry and psychotic? I mean, fuck around and find out, I guess.
Hey everyone! In this guide, we're introducing our new AI indicator, which we've developed in partnership with OpenAI. Now, this is the first trading indicator of its kind, using artificial intelligence to analyze multiple market factors, save you countless hours of market.
Bro is waiting in the dispensary parking lot, asking people if they have any spare roaches. I don't think y'all understand. The crash out levels is about to go through the roof. No food stamps equals no to less weed money. Like, y'all about to have people out here hangry and sober. That's a diabolical combination. Because the food money got to come out of some budget, and that's the first one it usually comes from. All I'm saying is just be nicer to people in these coming days, because that blunt and those snacks may have been the only thing stopping your coworker from putting you first in line for a meet and greet with God Almighty.
Now I'm so sick of you hoes that don't get food stamps instead of stating y'all motherfucking opinion about us getting mad about these food stamps, bitch. So let me tell you all something. Food is too motherfucking high. For y'all to be bragging by, oh, I never got food stamps, so I never gave a fuck. You want food stamps, though. You wish you can get food stamps, though. Because at the end of the day, the food stamps that we get, that shit don't even be enough, but it's a blessing.
Oh, shit.
Like, people really out here need food stamps. Everybody ain't rich. Everybody over here ain't overly loaded. Like, food is too motherfucking expensive. $500 a couple of years ago, $500 worth of stamps would have got you so much shit. Now, $900 barely get you 200 items. Groceries too motherfucking high for y'all to be out here just talking. If y'all hoes ain't finna Cash App, Zelle, Apple Pay, Vmo, Dmo, nobody help on their motherfucking groceries, stop yapping on this motherfucking here internet.
Now, here's the thing. I feel bad about this for the elderly, for the truly disabled, for people who can't work, who actually need the benefits. I don't feel bad for the single baby mamas, the lazy, the entitled, people who are able-bodied and just refuse to work, okay, and illegal immigrants. No, I don't feel bad for those people who are losing their SNAP benefit. And another reason why I don't feel bad about it is because a lot of these people are too stupid to understand that Democrats are at fault, right? It is literally the fault of the Democrat Party in regards to why this is happening.
As soon as we hit November 1st, the Trump administration says that there will be no federal food aid. So that means those SNAP benefits may soon be off the table for 1 in 8 Americans who use it. And with no end in sight to the shutdown, people are upset.
I never thought it would come to something like this.
Growing up, Nora Shaheen says she and her family relied on SNAP benefits to make ends meet, which is why the news that families like hers may not have it soon has left the 22-year-old far from pleased. She says SNAP was a lifeline for her.
There's always food in the house. Like, it made me feel like the same as other kids who are more fortunate.
So it means a lot to you.
It means so much to me, yeah, for sure. It's like infuriating.
According to a statement on the U.S. Department of Agriculture's website, the well has run dry as far as funding goes to continue SNAP benefits starting November 1st. Over the weekend, President Donald Trump once again placed blame on Democrats for the pause and preventing the government shutdown from coming to an end.
But the Democrats are stopping it. All they have to do is agree to let's go and we're ready. And we voted for it many times. All we need is 5 Democrats. The Republicans vote for it.
In response to the potential pause, Senator Richard Blumenthal said in a statement, "I'm hopeful that the state will step into the breach, but families across Connecticut and the country face a food insecurity perfect storm, with rising prices and diminished benefits compounded by the challenges with healthcare that Republicans have imposed with a self-inflicted wound as a result of the government shutdown. With the future unclear, those on SNAP are being encouraged by groups like Connecticut Voices for Children and Connecticut Social Services to spend what SNAP benefits they have before November 1st, while those like Shaheen hope this will send a message to lawmakers.
I just want to tell them that you need to keep these families in mind. Just because I'm not dealing with it right now, like I still feel for all these other families and all these children and stuff who have to be affected.
This is Buick, now. Buick, exceptional by design.
Get 0.9% APR on these 2025 Buick models. Plus, current eligible non-GM owners get up to $3,000 allowance on Encore GX.
Yes, this is why I switched to injection-free weight loss.
I was eating healthy, working out every day.
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that. Now, again, people are freaking out over the possibility of food stamps running out if something doesn't happen here soon, right? It doesn't look like anything's going to happen here soon because, again, Democrats have decided that planes need to crash, that people need to lose their benefits, their food stamps, in order to stick it to Trump, right? This is what Democrats have said explicitly what they need before they decide to open up the government. They need pain, right? They need people to feel like President Trump is hurting them when it's really the Democrat Party that is hurting them. The sad reality is that there are a significant amount of people in this country who are just too stupid to understand this, right? Because they don't understand how the government works, and they are probably watching MSDNC. But for this video, I want to focus on something very specific, okay, which is this idea that is being pushed in liberal circles that, well, you know, SNAP, according to this person, is not just for the unemployed. It is for anyone who's living below the poverty line, which sadly includes a lot of people who are working full-time jobs. But here's the thing. Even if it were just for the unemployed, they still deserve food. No one deserves to starve. Yeah, so I want to address entitlement because that's what this is, okay? We live in a time period where people believe that they're entitled to housing. They're entitled to food. They're entitled to healthcare. And it's like, no, you're not entitled to any of these things, right? At no point in human history has anybody ever been entitled to anything. But again, I want to address a very specific demographic of individuals who, again, are receiving these benefits, okay? And I want to go ahead and play a video of, again, the type of demographic that I really want to address here. Take a look.
Y'all up in here talking mad fucking shit. Y'all don't realize how much we're losing right now. Yeah, I work a 40-hour job, like I've been fucking saying, and I'm on government assistance. They're taking everybody's fucking shit. My kids right now do not have medical. Or myself. I don't care about myself. I care about my fucking kids. For number one, okay? That's my motherfucking job to make sure they're alright. Make sure they go to the doctor's appointment such and such, okay? But y'all sitting here talking mad shit about that, right? People are about to lose their housing, and they're gonna have their families on the fucking streets, and y'all don't give a fuck about that, right? You don't give a fuck about if they're going to eat, do you? No. But you're talking mad fucking shit. Shut the fuck up. Because you know why I'm gonna tell you shut the fuck up? Because that shit's gonna happen to you. Okay? Mark my words, that shit's gonna be fucking... I'm gonna laugh at y'all dumb asses when that shit happens. Guarantee you that. But have a great fucking Sunday, though.
Yeah, so, again, I want to address the demographic of single parents, right, that are on food stamps, okay, that claim that they're working, right, because, again, liberals love to push this propaganda. There are people who are working, who are living below the federal poverty line, and they need food stamps, right? But again, like any liberal claim, you have to look deeper into what they're actually talking about to see the truth. I responded to
There's just one more.
one of these individuals,
Hey guys,
and I said,
one more
the federal poverty line
video.
is $15,650
I haven't watched
a year
any
for a
news
single
stamps.
individual with no kids.
One
Now,
more.
let's stop here, right? Because I know a lot of people will say, well, that seems low. That's not the point. The point is not that the federal poverty line is low. The point is that there's literally nobody who is working full time that is living below the federal poverty line unless they have kids, okay? If you work for $725, in which you will be hard pressed, even in states where you have the lowest cost of living, you still be hard pressed to find a job that actually is only paying $7.25 nowadays, right? There are very few jobs that actually pay minimum wage. Most people, if you're working at McDonald's, Arby's, retail, wherever, right? Like, you're getting paid more than minimum wage, right? But even if you are getting paid minimum wage, okay, you're not living below the federal poverty line if you have no kids. Now, here's where the problem kicks in, okay? Is when you have these single parents who are working, right? And what happens when you're working as a single parent, okay? Then the federal poverty line goes up, right? So the threshold increases, right? And that's where the problem kicks in. This is where they become eligible for benefits. Now, it is not the job of the government to come in and to do the job of a father, right? That's the point I really want to make here, because that's what really annoys me about these liberal arguments when it comes to welfare. Because as I've explained to you guys before, okay, and this is something I'm really, really, really starting to believe in my whole heart of hearts, that this is one of the biggest problems with why the family structure in this country is breaking down, is because of the fact that government welfare has disincentivized families from staying together. Okay, these women are having kids out of wedlock, and then they're working these dead end jobs, and they now become eligible for food stamps and welfare because they're quote unquote living in poverty, right? But it's not the job of the government to take care of your kids. That's the job of the baby daddy. That's the job of the father of the kid. And that's the thing about Kevin Samuels, God rest his soul, that I really liked when he was giving advice to these single baby mamas, right, looking for a man. The first thing he would tell them, go find your baby daddy. Go be with him, right? That woman that we just played, she's complaining about how she works, but she still needs benefits to feed her kids, right? And that society needs to take care of her. When, again, that's not the job of society. That's the job of the baby daddy. Where is the father of your kids? Why is he not taking care of the kids, right? Do people understand the problem with the government coming in and telling these women that, hey, it's okay to make bad decisions. It's okay to get knocked up by these deadbeats? Because let's be real. As a man, I would never, as a working man, I would never let the government take care of my kids if I had kids, right? And if anything, if I had kids, I would try everything in my ability to remain with the mother of my kids, even if I was miserable in the relationship. And the reason why is because I truly feel that if you choose to have kids with somebody, you are obligated to stay with that person until, at the very least, until the kids are adults. You are obligated. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the circumstances. I mean, unless, you got somebody that's, literally beating the hell out of you, right? Then that might be a little bit different. But outside of some extreme circumstances, generally speaking, couples that have kids should stay together no matter what. If you choose to lay down and have a kid with somebody, you have to stay together and to take care of the kids.
Chevy makes America's most dependable trucks.
But when you have the government come in and tell these women, it's okay, doesn't matter if you get knocked up by a deadbeat, we're going to pay for your kids to eat, right? We're going to take care of them anyways, despite the fact that you made a bad decision. What incentive do these people have to not get knocked up, to not lay up with deadbeats and have all these kids and to live off the government? There's no incentive. When the government has decided that they're going to pay for people's bad decisions, then people are going to continue to make bad decisions. And those bad decisions are bad for society. These single mothers having all these kids, raising criminals, agents of chaos.
Damn.
Yeah, that's a negative externality for society when you don't have fathers in homes.
Yeah. Criminals.
So that's the part of this conversation I think that people are missing. When you got all these people going online complaining, oh, I got to feed my kids. Where is the daddy? Where's the father? It's a man's job to feed his kids. It's not the government's job. It's a man's job. And it doesn't matter how much a man has to work. I don't care. If you got to work 60, 70 hours a week, doesn't matter. A man should never, ever, ever let his kids be on government benefits if he can help it. And a woman shouldn't get knocked up by a man who would allow his kids to be on welfare. That's the real conversation that needs to be had about this. Families are being broken apart because of the fact that the government pays for bad decisions. And that's the real conversation that we need to have. Maybe in the future I'll make a dedicated video about this very specific topic, right? But again, this is something I've been thinking about a lot lately, right? Especially as a conservative, as I continue to evolve with my political viewpoints. Like, I'm actually becoming like radicalized against welfare, right? I'm becoming very anti-welfare, right? For anybody that's not truly disabled or elderly, I am becoming a radical against welfare, right? Any type of welfare, right? I'm being very, very, very serious about that. And what's radicalizing me is the fact that I'm realizing that the government is causing a lot of these problems that we're experiencing in society because they are incentivizing people to make bad decisions. I don't think it's a coincidence that when we had less welfare, families were stronger, communities were stronger, we had less crime. Society, at least culturally speaking, was in a much better place. And a lot of that has changed because of the welfare state. And I think, again, this whole conversation about food stamps has just reminded me of that. And again, the more I learn, the more radical I become. Well, I'm like, yeah, we have to dismantle the welfare state. It needs to be radically dismantled because it is destroying the family. It is destroying the foundation of what made this country great in the first place. So that's just some food for thought, right? All these single ghetto baby mamas out here, right, boo-hoo whining and crying about what they gonna do without food stamps. Go find your baby daddy, right? Go find the father of your kids, right? And work it out. Work it out. Get a job. That's what you should do, right? If you want to survive the food stamp apocalypse. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.
I've heard from several parents today who are deeply concerned about what their high schoolers described to them a meeting just for African American students. That's according to the kids who attended. They say Woodrow Wilson High School principal Chandra Hooper Barnett called a meeting of African American students only during advisory period. And according to multiple parents, she told them that they were the reason that the school has a B rating and not an A. Jennifer Bush heard it from her son, a sophomore.
I thought it was extremely discriminatory and inflammatory to sit down a bunch of black children and tell them that they're the reason why the school is in a bad light in their eyes.
And today, an email to parents from Woodrow Wilson
That's
announcing a new interim principal and acknowledging a, quote, recent incident occurred on our campus that does not reflect the values and expectations of our school community. No mention of Principal Hooper Barnett. But she also wrote an email to parents over the weekend to apologize, writing in part, quote, the decision to hold that meeting and subsequent discussions that transpired was not appropriate. I take full ownership and responsibility for what occurred, and I want to assure you that it was never my intent to single out or cause harm to any group of students.
Boy. So we got to talk about a story out of Dallas, Texas. Woodrow Wilson High School, okay, that really shows you that when these people come out here and they talk about black excellence, right, they really don't believe in that, okay, because when it comes time to hold black people, black students, to the standard of black excellence, they show you that, well, we really don't like that, right? We really don't like holding black students accountable and making sure that they perform at the highest level possible, which is what this principal, who happens to be black, tried to do with a group of black students that she called into a meeting to tell them that, hey, your test scores are lagging. Okay, you guys are not performing academically at the level that we expect that you should be performing, and that is dragging down the school, right? And the rating that the school is getting when it comes to academic performance. Now, the parents of these kids got upset. They started boohoo whining and crying to the media, to the school, about what this woman said to these students when it comes to their academic performance. And now, again, it seems as if she's fired. And again, I want to react to the story. I want to talk about this story because I think this story is just another example of why we're losing, right? Why is it that black people at the bottom, right? Why is it that we're losing? So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this.
I've heard from several parents today who are deeply concerned about what their high schoolers described to them a meeting just for African American students. That's according to the kids who attended. They say Woodrow Wilson High School principal Chandra Hooper Barnett called a meeting of African American students only during advisory period, and according to multiple parents, she told them that they were the reason that the school has a B rating and not an A. Jennifer Bush heard it from her son, a sophomore.
She said that? I was like, that's what they said to you? I was like, I'm calling the school tomorrow.
She's one of many parents to tell me that they called and complained.
I thought it was extremely discriminatory and inflammatory to sit down a bunch of black children and tell them that they're the reason why the school is in a bad light in their eyes.
And today, an email to parents from Woodrow Wilson announcing a new interim principal and acknowledging a, quote, recent incident occurred on our campus that does not reflect the values and expectations of our school community. No mention of Principal Hooper Barnett, but she also wrote an email to parents over the weekend to apologize, writing in part, quote, the decision to hold that meeting and subsequent discussions that transpired was not appropriate. I take full ownership and responsibility for what occurred, and I want to assure you that it was never my intent to single out or cause harm to any group of students. The email never explicitly said the exact circumstances of that meeting. Parents tell me they want more information on what happened and what was said.
There is a lot left to be desired. Like, I'm happy at the rapid response. I don't know how it was allowed to happen in the first place. I don't know how she felt comfortable enough to do that.
I reached out to both Dallas ISD and to Principal Hooper Barnett. No response from either so far, and no information right now on whether she faces any discipline or whether she could return to work.
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that. Now, apparently, she's not going to return, okay? And we're going to talk about it because it seems to me, as of the making of this video, she's effectively been fired. Now, what is the controversy here, right? The controversy is that this woman, again, who happened to be black, right? She told black students that, hey, you guys are dragging us down, right, when it comes to performance. Now, apparently, this school is an A school, okay, in regards to, I don't know, the rating that they get from the state or wherever, right? But apparently, they got a B now, okay? And she told them, listen, y'all the reason why we got a B. Now, I don't think that she's making this up, right? I think that she saw the test scores and she noticed some trends, right? She noticed the pattern. And she said, hey, there's a certain pattern here of the students who are not performing as well, right? It seems as if, from a racial perspective, demographically speaking, it seems as if the black students are dragging us down. Now, this woman, instead of saying, you know what? Who cares? We got a B, right? A B is good enough, right? A B is good enough. No, she said a B is not good enough. We should have an A. The black students need to be performing better, right? They need to be performing at the same level as everybody else, aka holding them to the highest standard possible, which you would think is a good thing, right? Considering how so many of these individuals claim they believe in black excellence. But see, now when it comes time to actually hold black students to the standard of black excellence, you have these parents who are boo-hoo whining, oh, you can't say that to my child. And I'm like, well, is your child performing at the highest standard or no? Right? If your child is not performing at the highest standard, then clearly there's room for improvement, because she's not coming from a place of racism, hate, or bigotry. She's coming from a place of, hey, I'm looking out for my people, right? Again, you know, as a black conservative, it's funny because I totally understand, right? I totally understand where she's coming from, because, again, if you hold black people to a high standard as a black conservative, apparently that's selling out, right? That's discriminatory. You know, you're looking down on black folks. You don't like black people, whatever. When it's like, no, I just have high standards for my people. I know how my people can perform, right? I know what you're capable of doing. And when you're not performing to that level, then yeah, I'm going to have an issue with it. I'm going to call it out. That is what you do when you care about people, right? When you actually give a damn about outcomes, when you give a damn about what students learn and the success that they're going to have in life, when you give a damn about black socioeconomic mobility, yeah, I think that calling those students into a room and say, hey, we got to do better from a pro-black perspective is appropriate, right? But again, we have individuals who believe that no, you're not allowed to hold black people to a high standard, right? Even if they're dragging down everybody else, which again is something that should be embarrassing, right? In the ideal world, you would have these parents come together with the principal and say, you know what, you're right. We do need to perform better. Why are we underperforming everybody else? It's embarrassing that we're underperforming everybody else. It's embarrassing that we're dragging down the school. How can we change this? We need to do better, which apparently is what she wanted. That was the intent. So let's actually read about this, because the more that you learn about it, the worse that it gets in regards to this woman being fired. They literally fired a good principal because she actually cares about the academic achievement of her students. So let's read here. A Dallas high school has been rocked after a principal reportedly pulled a group of black students aside to blame them for the school's lower academic rating. Principal Chandra Hooper Barnett reportedly took a group of black students into an assembly to discuss their academic performance, the Dallas Morning News reported. The Texas Education Agency assigns schools an A through F rating, considering student achievement and progress and how well they prepare students for success beyond high school. Quote, my son said that Principal Barnett stated that those students, the black students, were the reason why the school had a B rating. Jennifer Bush told the outlet, quote, she said it in a derogatory manner. Bush told NBC Dallas Fort Worth, quote, I was really shocked she would say something like that. She added that her son currently holds a 3.5 GPA. In a letter sent to parents on Sunday, Hooper Barnett, who is black, apologized for hosting the meeting and admitting that it was not appropriate. Quote, I take full ownership and responsibility for what occurred, and I want to assure you that it was never my intent to single out or cause harm to any group of students, she wrote. Quote, I understand that my actions and decisions have caused a disappointment and frustration, and for that, I sincerely apologize. Hooper Barnett will not return to school, and Danielle Petters has since been appointed as interim principal. The executive director of the Woodrow Wilson Vertical Team said Hooper Barnett's actions, quote, do not reflect the values and expectations of our school community. Bush said the students need to, quote, know that they're enough. Quote, I don't even know how you resolve this and take it back, because the damage has been done, she told the Dallas Morning News. There is a trust that is broken between parents and students. She is hoping the school will hold a meeting so parents and educators can, quote, put our heads together and get this taken care of. Quote, because if you guys do want to come up to an A rating, you have to put in the work as administration, as a community. If we're all striving for a goal, let's do that together and let's not single out children, she told the outlet. Well, I mean, I feel like this principal was trying to do that, right? She was essentially trying to come together, right, as, you know, a black community and to say, hey, we got to do better, right? We're underperforming everybody else. Let's do better. Hooper Barnett had been the principal of the 1,800 students for the last 3 years and has been an educator in the school district for 22 years. Yeah, so again, this is her, okay? Apparently, she was principal of the year. And they replaced her with this woman, right? So again, they got rid of this black woman who simply just held black people, black kids to a high standard, right? To the highest standard possible.
Takes the black woman with a white
pushed
woman.
black excellence. They said,
Crazy.
nah, we got to get rid of her, right? She's a problem. Let's replace her with a white woman, right? You can't make this up. You can't make it up. She has won several Teacher of the Year awards. Black students make up 7.3% of the student population at the East Texas school. Hispanic students make up 62%, while white students make up 27.7%. The high school received an 83 out of 100 points on this year's rating. In the 2023-2024 school year, the school scored an 87. The prior year, it scored an 88. All the scores were of B ratings. The Daily Mail has reached out to the school district and Hooper Barnett for comment. Yeah, so again, this woman clearly is seeing the writing on the wall, which is that the ratings for this school are declining over time, right? Year after year, and they're declining, okay? And she say, hey, there's a certain group of students that need to perform better, right? My people need to perform better, right? So let me get my people together and tell them, hey, we got to do better. We need to do better. Now, again, some people may say, well, what's the problem? It's a B. Who cares? Well, the problem is that you cannot accept a lower standard, right? Or you cannot accept anything less than excellence and then expect to get the results that are associated with excellence performance. Like, for example, getting into Ivy League schools, which, since affirmative action was overturned by the Supreme Court, you have black enrollment declining at these elite schools.
Black enrollment at several Ivy League universities dropped this fall. That's after steady increases over decades. Analysis by the Associated Press shows the decrease 2 years after the Supreme Court prohibited affirmative action as a factor in admissions. The decline coincides with the president scrutinizing elite colleges and their policies. Now, there is one exception of these elite schools, Smith College. The number of black students enrolled there has risen. Joining me now is the Vice President of Enrollment at Smith College, Joanna May. Thank you so much for being with me. So the AP looked at 20 schools, and they found a decrease from 2023 to 2025 of black students in the freshman class, except for Smith. You see, we'll put the numbers for Smith up, the increase there. To what do you attribute that outlier status? What are you doing that the others are not?
Well, I think it's a testament to Smith as an institution and to the admissions staff and how they articulate the value of Smith education to students. We overall enrolled one of our largest classes in history this year in one of our most selective admission cycles. We actually had a similar number of black applicants to past years and admitted slightly fewer black students this year, but our yield on black students, so the number of admitted students who chose Smith, increased significantly. And the reasons that happened, I think.
Yeah, so AKA what she's actually really saying is that, well, to be honest with you, we did accept less black students, right? But the black students that did get accepted, they decided to actually enroll, right? So again, she's essentially admitting that the acceptance rate for black students declined at this university, even though enrollment went up. So again, my point is this, right? Is that you cannot boohoo, whine, and cry about black students not getting into these elite universities or not getting the opportunities that you think black students should get if you do not hold black students to the highest standards possible, okay? That is why a B is not enough, right? A B is not enough. It's not enough. And there's too many people that have this mentality of, well, average is enough, right? Or slightly above average is enough. No, it's not enough. It's not enough. If you want the opportunities that you claim that you want, if you want the positions that you claim that you want, if you want the economic mobility that you claim that you want, then you have to perform and compete at the highest level, okay? Everybody knows the stereotype about how Asian parents don't accept B's, right? They probably don't accept A minuses either, right? You come home with an A minus, you're a disgrace, right? You're a disgrace. Anything less than an A is a disgrace. Now, some people may feel like that's harsh, but again, that is how all these other groups become so successful. Because again, they have that high standard because they are harsh on their students, on their kids when it comes to their academic performance. That is the reality of the situation. You have to compete. And we should not accept less than excellence because a student is black. And this principal embraced that. She embraced that. And she held them to a higher standard. And guess what? Our people, right? Our people got rid of her. They said, you know what? This is inappropriate. You can't do this, right? How dare you hold my child to the highest standard possible? And then people wonder, why is it that black people are at the bottom? Why are we behind everybody else? Because of stories like this. Because of stories like this. Any other community, if this would have happened in any other community, I don't think that their own people, right, would have been complaining about it, right? I think that silently, the parents would have agreed, yeah, we need to perform better, right? Could you imagine this being an Asian principal, pulling aside all the Asian students and saying, hey, we need to perform better, right? We need to do better. We got to outcompete everybody else. I don't think that the Asian parents would have been mad about that, right? I don't think so. But, hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.
This project references. Shit, I think I have to do it. Okay, so now I can go. Okay, I'm gonna try.
I admire Prisha's strength and the desire to do all the growth and the work.
Being a black male in a world that doesn't have a lot of grace for you often, I admire your willingness to even have that conversation and to sit in your emotions.
You did everything. You did amazing. You made this happen. You are living proof that recovery exists.
Bring it in.
So good to see you. You too.
Let's see. Oh, I forgot.
You know what time it is. It's time for Based. Again, we're back with Björn, Andreas, Bull Hansen, and this time he says they really need to stop this nonsense. My Viking heritage is not a joke. Preach it, brother. Let's go.
What if I told you that I will be playing the main part in the new upcoming Hollywood movie, King Shaka Zulu?
Ooh, we're starting strong with the humor. Let's go.
I will be playing King Shaka himself. Can you see the striking resemblance? I'm just out here to have a look at this tree that fell over during Storm Amy. And by the way,
Man, look at
that was a joke about me playing King Shaka Zulu.
Oh, why?
But imagine if a white actor was to play that part in such a movie. Some people would say that's cultural appropriation.
Not just that, they'd say there would be like outrage all over the place. They'd be having like full-on heart attacks. It would be like the equivalent of having a death note at that point.
It should be played by someone who actually looks like King Shaka, someone with African heritage.
And specifically black African heritage, because you can be African and not be black.
I don't like it when these trees, when this happens, because I know all these trees up in these woods.
You know one thing, if society goes to hell, this guy's surviving. I'm telling you that much. This guy's surviving.
Okay, okay, I'm gonna start recording too. So what am I doing? So what I am doing is, in this project, normally I am a console programmer. So I normally do things by main, right? Just your basic console projects. And the one thing I was trying to avoid is having to make an instance of a class doing it this way for every single time I want to use something. So like, let's say there's a resource group. So if I want to be able to, make a VNet, I need to be able to call the resource group. I don't want to have to make an instance of a resource group. So since I am using C#, there's a really cool thing called dependency injection, where you can use a singleton. You can use there's other different ways, but basically I want to use a singleton that makes sure there's an instance of these classes that will run the whole entirety of the application. So if I need it in another program, let's say, I'm going to have like a business area over here and I need something that's in services, a function that's here, I need it to be done in that particular folder or that particular project. I can just add the injection inside the constructor of the class. And since the program is already running, there's no need to make an instance. It just brings it in to the new class that that runs it. So that's one of the ways that I see a lot of applications with C# being done. I don't really typically see the traditional console route unless I'm doing something related to embedded stuff. But as far as like web development, I see this a lot. So I want to get better at it and decided to have Chat GPT help me walk through setting it up and learning how to use dependency injection because I don't know how to use it. And then the code that I did use with my traditional, I'm going to combine what ChatGPT has with my own stuff that I already tested and it works well. I don't want to rewrite code. I want to try to combine what I already have and see if, we can get it working and, learn something else about C# along the way. In the meantime, now we're going to get back to this and we're going to listen to politics in the background.
Here is Vikings Valhalla, I believe it's called.
Yep.
We encounter a character called Earl Håkon, Håkon Jarl in Norwegian, and he is played by a black woman.
Yeah, and he's saying he because the original historical character, it's an original historical character who was a Nordic man. So they swapped the race and the gender. I remember making a video about this. It was absolutely insane. Absolutely insane.
Which apparently is fine. A lot of people didn't like that. And when I just, I don't know what to say. Håkon Jarl was a patriarch, a very powerful figure in Norwegian history, Norwegian Viking history. So was his children. And the idea that Netflix wanted him to be played by a black woman is, I lack the words to describe it. It doesn't make me angry.
Clown world.
Or anything like that. It's just a bit silly. And it makes me not want to watch that TV series. Now, actually, I haven't watched it. But nobody talked about cultural appropriation back then when they launched that TV series.
Rules for thee, not for me.
As far as I know. So apparently...
Okay, so yeah, I want to do this. I wanted to learn a little bit about dependency injection for C# for console program. I don't know how to do that other than just using a main, just running your main script, right? So to get used to dependency injection and just how it looks, this is how it looks. I asked if I can do this to run my Azure project, and this is what it suggests. So we're going to walk through what ChatGPT is telling me to do, and then we're going to pick some pieces of this and some pieces we won't use. Okay. So the first thing is our app settings. It would be our subscription, our tenant ID, our location, where we were going to store our resources, our resource group name, and then our tags. So let's go inside of our Azure portal. Log in really quick. Portal, Azure. It's installed TL2.com. Okay. As you, I make the video record. I did not keep the video from last recording, but in the last live, we showed how we were able to make this resource group here from the old code automation program. This one, your traditional basic console program using just me. So now We are going to delete this bad boy. Delete. Yes, copy. Paste. Delete. Yes. Okay. And now while that is deleting, we're going to go back to reading this. So let's put inside our subscription ID. So let me go to my subscription ID. Where is my okay? So I go to my subscription ID. And since I have the free, I'm using the free version right now. So I'm just going to copy the subscription ID and let's go to our I already have it, so it's already in there. Our tenant ID optional. We will do the default credential, Azure credential. We will set that up in here. Our location, I believe we already have. Yes, we have our location. Our resource group. Okay. All right. So I guess we can do our tags. So let's go ahead and do that. We will add So the reason why I'm doing it this way is because my last project, the way that it was always isolated. I had a clean architecture going on. Every folder basically had its own program that would run isolated services, and with that, it meant that each one of them had their own JSON, and I just want one JSON for the whole entire program. So I will be doing things by block. So obviously this will be for our dev branch, but this will be for resource group. If we need one for VNets, we'll have one for VNets. If we need one for security vault, I have one for security vault. So that's how I'm I guess you can say I'm structuring this. Yeah, that's the right word. So then in the environment, call this, yes, because this will be the dev environment. Okay. All right, now these are all the NuGet packets we're gonna get use. I have never used the NuGet packet manager where you just write the SQL in there. I just normally, because I like to know what I'm doing as I'm adding the packages. Like when I see the squiggly lines, that's when I know I need to add something. So then I go research what it is and then I add it. But I know we obviously are going to need these things. We're going to need this for our identity. I've never done anything with consoles, so I actually do want to actually log stuff like this. I've never done anything regarding log console. So that would be cool. I have used the JSON configuration and hosting. I don't know. Not that one, but okay. So now let's get to our dependency injection plus host plus Azure SDK. So for this one, it looks like we're starting out with, just from looking off what we're using for our packages, we're going to be grabbing the identity and probably setting a resource. Okay, so this is our configuration. I already have that, so let's go ahead and copy. So let's go and copy her version of this, and this is going in our program.cs. Yeah, because this is the injection dependency part. All right. So I have this. Okay, so okay. So let's actually read this and see what they want us to do. So there's no main, right? So let's see. This, okay. Class app. So they use the app instead of a main. So I don't know. That's why I want to learn about the dependency injection. Okay, so the var app dot run async. Yeah, so scope provider okay. Using var scope equals host dot service dot get scope. So let's see what host is. Host is host.create default builder. So we're using a builder. I wonder where this comes from. Is that system? No, it's not system. Yeah, because it's very different than mine. Okay. Okay. How do I press okay? No. What is this? Actually does, and why is it so powerful for Azure console apps? Microsoft essentially network settings is that feature. The modern .NET apps. Okay, so that's reverse. Okay. No. Okay, so okay. Extensions. And then we go to tools, unit package manager. Let's see. This one you put in SQL, right? Yeah, I'm guessing. Yeah, SQL. And they say what? .NET add package. What extensions? Extensions. Okay, let's see what it does. Nope. We'll just do it the package manager way. Extension. Okay. And now let's go back. Yeah. All right. So we got var hosting. I don't like variables like this. Create a new instance of host folder with pre-configured defaults. Configure app configurations. I wonder what's the difference between this and this is two. All right. Okay, for me, it is app don't JSON. Now this one I probably can just copy. Is it I? I guess I can do it. Set is can I even do it with this one? Okay. Okay. So we're configuring our apps, we're configuring our logging, and we're configuring our services. I guess we'll figure out what this is along the way. Let's see. I guess we're gonna have to fill out what these two are. Okay. So let's just do the first one. All right, so Mr. JSON. There's a setting that JSON. Yeah, Chat GPT, you have to really check, you guys, because Chat GPT misses a lot of things, I've noticed. But I still like it because it keeps me on my toes. But yeah. Alright. Maybe it's because of it here. Yeah. What are these? On top of our base app setting, only if it exists. Okay. So So when you locally run .NET environment, it can develop and merges into two files so that active configuration becomes can easily switch between that test prime. This lets an environmental variables from your OS or container into the configuration system. Okay, yeah, that's setx. Okay. All right, well, we're not there yet. So we have the first part, which is just getting the logging. Well, just getting the JSON in, and then let's wrap it up. Okay. Create scope. Let's see. I've never used this before. Using for scope. Host. Services. What the fuck? Okay, so I have to do computer services. Oh, really? This sucks. I gotta do all this. So what's this? Okay. Unfortunately, I gotta add all this shit. Okay, fine. Let's do the next one. The logging. Configure. Loading. Logging. Logging dot what? Yeah. Clear provider. What the hell is clear provider? Okay, so clear provider. Removes all Microsoft extension logging IO logger providers from the builders. Oh, okay. So clear providers. And then logging. Let's see if I add consoles. Yeah, console stands for name console to the factory. Okay. Services. Oh.
That's not cultural appropriation. That's just fine having Håkon Jarl or Earl Håkon played by a black woman. That's fine. But at the same time, if a European person, a white person, Caucasian, whatever you want to call it, has dreadlocks, there will be some people screeching that that's cultural appropriation. Just a hairstyle, you know?
Just a hairstyle without having changed the ethnicity, without having morphed history as if it's your playbook to do whatever you want. They are doing that because they need to push this agenda of empowered black woman who is a ruler of men. And also at the same time, they're trying to say that if you are black, you can also be Nordic and you can be Viking. And as you know, there were people telling us, oh, it's an overreaction. Why do you care? Why does it matter? They tell you that, even though, as he points out, if the opposite were to happen, it would be complete outrage. So it would matter to them at that point. At least me and him are being equal to all races. We are equal to all ethnicities. We say black people, historically, black actor, white person, white actor. We are being equal to everyone. They are the ones that want injustice. And then when we complain about the injustice, then they tell you, why does it matter? Why do you care? It is so obnoxious and condescending, it's unbelievable. And on top of that, they call you racist, of course. But the reality is that they told us it's not a big deal, but it was a big deal because then, as you know, we both have covered this, by the way, just a few weeks ago. What they did is that now they changed history again and they said that the Vikings were Muslims. And now this is being taught. And it's going to go into university. And this idea of, oh no, you can be Anglo-Saxon and be black. Yeah, you're a black Anglo-Saxon. So that's a thing. So they are doing it. They are changing the history. They are saying that you can't even say the word Anglo-Saxon when you refer to white ancestry in Britain because it's offensive. So they renamed all of the different classes. They said that ancient Greek mythology required a premise and it could be considered offensive. They are decolonizing history. It does matter. It absolutely matters because it's a slippery slope.
And I'm sure that the next movie about Queen Cleopatra, there you will see that Queen Cleopatra is played by a black woman, which doesn't make any sense to anyone who knows a little bit about history. The sun is rising.
I've been taking this course for the past 30 days and it's been absolutely amazing. It's called 100 Days of Code, a complete Python Pro bootcamp. It's literally a 100-day plan where you'll learn the basics of Python and you'll be building awesome projects like predicting housing prices on final days. This course is taught by Dr. Angela Wu, who is a senior developer, so you know you're learning from the best. Also, the course is hosted on Udemy, which is one of the best platforms for learning how to code because it has a much more affordable pricing comparing to other platforms. And once you purchase the course, you're going to have a lifetime access to the course and the future updates all for free. Go check it out.
Yes. Okay. All right, now.
Which is nice. But there is no warmth in the sun.
I'd like to underline because I don't think I watched everything. I watched the.
I'm still trying to understand the difference. I've seen this in a few of my applications at work. Well, depending on which job I've been at, sometimes I see them use a singleton, sometimes see them use transients. I just don't know what's for what. But okay, so this one's gonna have us use a singleton, I believe. Yes, yeah. So a single instance of a service is created and shared across the entire application's lifetime, which is what I want because I want to be able to make, if there's a class of an instance that I need, I only want to be able to create it once, not in every single class that I may possibly need it. If I possibly need it, then just you would add it in the constructor. So that is something I do want. Now, when it's scoped, an instance of the service is created once per client request or per scope. Sounds like a listener, like a trigger or something. A transient, a new instance of a service is created every time it is requested. Okay, once per client request. So like, okay, that's different. This is every single time. And this can be like, if there's multiple users on one computer, but that computer obviously is one client. So if it's like, a new instance created every single time it's requested. That's like an HTTP request, I guess, in a way. All right. Anyways, so services that app controller with views at scope at singleton configure my options. There we go. But what is this part here? Is that just like something that's like default or something? Like main, you know? I don't know. Is that default? What is that? So like, configuration, name option. This is provided by. Oh, so it is something that. So I guess I am supposed to come up with my options. Well, what would those options be? I'm guessing that would be like if. Wait. Configuration dot get setting. Would that be like if I'm using like iConfigure? So like, I don't know. Let's ask Chat GPT. So like, this is my options. Sorry guys, I know it might seem trivial, but I'm one of those. If I don't know it, I don't care how trivial it is. I'm gonna ask. Okay, my options for the. What was that part again? For the configuration.
Viking TV series Valhalla. I watched it and it was horrible. I watched the Cleopatra one because I was making videos about it, the things I do for you number ones. And in the Cleopatra series, it's not that they just made Cleopatra. By the way, they called it a documentary. It's not that they just made Cleopatra black. They made the entire Ptolemy family black. The father is black. Her brothers and sisters are black. The mom is black. They're all black. They are so bad and twisted and evil that they will go beyond anything that me and him, regular people, could even imagine. That's the reality.
It's the middle of October now. here in Norway.
Oh gosh, it's gonna be cold. Not for me. Too
The
cold.
winter will soon be here.
I'll visit in summer.
Now, personally, I don't get all worked up about Håkon Jarl, Earl Håkon being played by a black woman. It just means that I don't want to watch that TV series.
Of course.
Probably wouldn't have anyway.
My options.
But
okay. Now inside any service or class, you
it
can
does tell us something about the double standards that they apply.
That's where greeter. Okay,
the powers
that's
that
where
be,
the
so to
greeter
speak.
class comes from.
We're not supposed to have anything nice, are we? I mean, if you're Anglo-Saxon, if you're Norse, if you're Slavic, and so on.
And Mediterranean, because they are changing my stuff too. The Romans being all about, like literally, I was playing a game of Civilization 7, and as I'm playing, I'm playing as the Romans, I'm opening the civic menu, and I'm getting this message which says, the diversity is the source of our strength, as one of the policies that I can select. Literally, you're putting Biden's words onto my game about the Romans. They are changing everything. And all the stuff about LGBTQ and the so-called transgender emperor, Elagabalus, who was not transgender, and the simple fact that he was using makeup, they say it's because he identified as a woman, and the reality is that was the ritual custom of the Syrians because he was of Eastern descent, but the Romans made fun of it. And they said, oh, you were trying to be a woman? It's because it was anti-imperial propaganda pushed by the Romans that were senatorial Romans. It's ridiculous. So mine too. Mine too. And Greece. If you appreciate my content so far and wish to help ensure my ability to continue to tell it how it is, regardless of any possible backlash, please support this channel on Patreon. Any support helps me and my team of academics keep the channel strong and gives us the means to fight back against the political rewriting of history. Stand with us. Defend the truth.
The most wonderful stories start at Macy's Friends and Family. Take 30% off our best brands, plus 15% off beauty and fragrance. Or Star Rewards members can earn even more Star money. Only at Macy's Friends and Family, going on now.
We put it through the worst.
Okay. Alright, so.
And so on. We're not supposed to have anything that we can call our own, our heritage, our culture.
Yes.
And maybe we should not accept that.
Yeah. And they say white people have no culture. They literally say that. Then they said white people don't exist. And the gaslighting is insane. Oh, he's doing napping.
Those bushcraft skills now and then.
Oh no, it's not napping. Napping is making fire.
We're going to do
this bracken. Is that what you call it? It's actually excellent for making fire. Not going to have a campfire, just want to practice. Let's see.
Man, how many books did he write? I thought he wrote a book. He wrote a whole series. I'm gonna have to look into that.
Lost it in here. Where is it? Oh, there it is.
Actually, this is not Azure. No, this is
.com.
I wanted to make sure this was. I guess.
I told you we'd survive.
Yeah, no. Let's make sure we keep it clean. Even though we have our environment as a tag, our tag as.
I like his shoes. I have a similar pair.
Even though we have the environment
looks like
tag
you put
as
some
dev, I
wool
just think they'll still be
under it.
Keep it clean.
The Romans did that too, by the way. Rabbit
And
skin.
by the way, if you want to support this channel, the best way to do that is to hit that subscribe button.
Already done.
Write a comment as well. That would help a lot. I promise to keep this channel authentic and real, and you will never see any AI here on my channel.
Respect.
That's a promise. And just a quick message for my Norwegian viewers. If you want a signed copy of my latest novel, there's a link for that in the video description. I also want to mention
Get
something that was
selected.
said after that brutal and horrible murder of Charlie Kirk.
Thank you.
The director of the FBI, Kash Patel, he said in a press conference there, he said, "Rest now, brother. I'll see you in Valhalla."
Did he? I didn't even know.
Now, to me, as a Norse pagan, that's a very beautiful thing to say. But I do have a question. Is Kash Patel a Norse pagan?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, it is a little weird that he said that, didn't he?
My guess would be no, that he's not. I might be wrong, but if he's not, then some people could say that he shouldn't have said that.
No,
It's
I think it's
cultural
fine.
appropriation, and
I think it's fine.
also
Okay.
Charlie Kirk, he was a very Christian person, so
Yeah.
I did find it odd when he said that. However, actually, you could argue that Odin and Freya, they don't care about the religion, the confessed religion of the deceased. They only care about worthiness in battle of the deceased. Now, I'm not claiming that as a... I'm just throwing that out there.
He's giving us his perspective. I appreciate that. I'm a Christian, of course, but I appreciate that. I appreciate that he's explaining the perspective of a Norse pagan at this point.
And it's an idea, you know. In the Battle of Fyrisvellir, it was said, Odin yder alla, and it means Odin owns you all. And a spear was thrown above and and it landed behind the enemy lines, which is believed to have been a way to call upon Odin to take your side in the battle. And the phrase Odin owns you all might mean that it doesn't matter your religion, your anything like that. Only your worthiness and bravery in battle matters. And if that is true, if that's so, then what Kash Patel said there is actually not incorrect. But I'm not claiming that this is the case. This is just an idea that, especially those of you interested in the Norse belief system, might want to discuss.
I appreciate that. Of course, personally, I believe that Charlie Kirk is with our Lord, Jesus Christ, but I do appreciate that because I love discussing these type of things, you know. I would love to sit down and talk. Like, he teaches me about his Norse pagan religion, and then I can share my values as a Christian, and then we can see if there are areas of overlap. Of course, there will be a lot of areas where we disagree, but you can tell that this is a man who hasn't lost the ability to have discourse and have a civil discussion. That's something we have lost. We have lost the ability to disagree. Now, particularly the radical left, what they do is that they skip directly from, oh, you disagree, shot in the neck. And no, look at this. This would be a beautiful thing, actually, to have a discussion with him about these kind of things, to show that even if we stand on different areas, values, when it comes to the religious aspect of this, we find connectivity, connection, and respect when it comes to our stance in defense of history and against the nonsense. So basically, we have a common enemy. Anyways, thank you very much, brother, and thank you for watching Noble Ones.
What if the reason you're always tired, gaining weight, or just not feeling like you isn't aging, but muscle loss? Research shows that starting at age 40, we naturally lose about 1% of muscle every year, and most people don't even know it's happening. So if you've tried protein powders, and workouts, and crazy diets, but nothing sticks, it's because your muscles aren't being properly supported. So when I found Cealac Muscle Health, I did my homework. And it uses a patented ingredient called 6-siala-lactose, designed to help your body preserve muscle, recover faster, and feel stronger, even as you age. And what really convinced me is it's clinically backed, safe, and trusted by patients with GNE, myopathy, and sarcopenia, two of the most severe muscle loss conditions. So if it works for them, imagine what it could do for you. So staying active isn't enough anymore. You've got to protect your muscle health. Try Cielac and feel the difference. Your muscles will thank you.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger. No, Will Robinson. Danger.
We must remember, in a time such as this, we are not the crazy ones, New York City. We are not the outlandish ones, New York City. They want us to think we are crazy. We are sane.
Wait for it. Here it comes.
Jews escaping Holocaust, Black Americans fleeing slavery and Jim Crow, Latinos seeking a better life, Native people standing for themselves, Asian Americans coming together in Queens, in Brooklyn, in the Bronx, in Manhattan, in Staten Island, in this country.
Don't do drugs. If you're doing it, stop it. Get some help.
You have a fare box on a bus, it increases the site of tension, of conflict, of assaults. When you remove that fare box, rather, what you find is a safer experience, not just for the riders, but also for the operators.
Huh? So what do you make of this Mondami guy who's leading in the polls, the so-called Democratic Socialist?
It would scare me if I lived in New York.
Well, you don't. You live in Kansas. Why do you think he's so popular here?
So it's just
I don't know.
Free. See the word free.
I think you're exactly right.
Free.
Vote for Zoran Mandami. Yes, he will raise our taxes, let us get robbed, take our homes, and even kill us. But at least you'll sleep good knowing that you're not a racist Islamophobic bigot, right? So rent, free welfare, free bus rides, loot what you want when you want. Oh, girl, you just got to vote for Zoran Mandami. Gay pride parades every day, free hormones and puberty blockers for kids. And mandatory pronouns and drag shows in all schools. Go, girl.
When a man running for mayor says, "We came here to remake this state in the image of our people."
We came here to remake this state in the image of our people.
You should probably believe him. That's not a slip of the tongue, America. That's a mission statement. And here's the question every New Yorker ought to ask. What exactly does he mean by our people? Because the last time I checked, this state was built on Christian grit, moral law, and a constitution written under the eyes of the Almighty. Not a foreign manifesto written halfway around the world. If you wanted that, go to one of the 51 Islamic states that already exist. Now, some folks try to wrap this in the word they don't even understand, taqiyya. The Quran mentions it only in one sense, hiding your faith under persecution. It was never meant as a license to deceive, lie, manipulate your way into power. I guess some politicians missed that fine print while campaigning under diversity, equity, and inclusion. You know, the DEI mandate. But let's talk a little bit of law. Under Title 8 USC, subsection 1451, denaturalization is possible only if the government proves fraud or willful misrepresentation in the citizenship process, concealing allegiance to another power, committing perjury, or aiding an enemy. Which is, you see that note right there by his father? That's who raised him, and they seem to think suicide bombers are fine. Actually, they think that they're underutilized. That's what I mean when I say aiding an enemy. It's rare, but it's real. Ideology alone doesn't do it, but deception does. So if any man stood before a federal officer, swore loyalty to the United States of America, and then turned around and vowed to remake that state in the image of his people, that oath deserves scrutiny. Because America isn't a sandbox for imported theocracies. It's a covenant nation. One nation. Under God. Not under Allah, but under God. Not under Sharia, not under socialism, not under any other flag. We don't need to remake New York. We need to redeem it. The blood, the faith, and the labor that built it were already enough. And every politician who forgets that, remember, you swore to defend this republic, not redesign it.
Yeah, boy.
Kami Mamdani has a new friend, and he couldn't be happier about him. Check out the pal smiling from ear to ear on social media. Mamdani wrote, I had the pleasure of meeting with Imam Siraj Waj, one of the nation's foremost Muslim leaders and a pillar of the Bed-Stuy community for nearly half a century. That's certainly one way to describe the man arm in arm with the future mayor. Another way is to say that Wahaj served as a character witness for the mastermind of the 1993 World Trade Center bombing, claiming that he was just, well, he was a respected scholar. A longtime defender of convicted terrorists, this imam also raised money for their legal defenses. And no surprise, he's trashed the United States.
You know what this country is? It's a garbage can. It's filthy. Filthy and sick.
No, he's sick. Here to discuss New York Congresswoman Nicole Maliotakis. Congresswoman, one could argue that, look, politicians take photos with everyone. Bloomberg's, been with this guy, and I think Adams, at one point, he campaigned alongside of him. So he's been out and about for a while. So why does this matter now?
Okay. Because it's not just him. I mean, the saying, show me who your friends are, I'll tell you who you are, that is applicable here. Zohran Mamdani has palled around with socialists, with communists. Okay. Now this radical extremist imam. This is somebody who is anti-American. This is somebody, as you mentioned, has defended the convicted plotters of the World Trade Center bombing. And he has to come out and actually denounce Hamas. He still has not done that. He did it in a mild way during the debate. But this is a communist sympathizer. He's a terrorist sympathizer. And I will tell you something else. 1993, Zohran was still a baby in diapers in Uganda, Africa. He is only 34 years old. He's only been in this city as a citizen for 7 years. He does not have the experience, he does not have the knowledge to be mayor of the largest city in the nation. And his policies are just downright dangerous. He has called the NYPD the greatest threat to society, to our city, to public safety. He wants to eliminate jails completely. He wants to legalize prostitution. These are radical and destructive policies. I truly believe that the people in New York City do not want this, that they actually don't. And I think millions of immigrants that have fled socialism and communism, like my mother, will be the difference in this election. I think more people need to know what socialism is, and it's incumbent upon people who've experienced it and fled it to actually teach the younger generation about it. Why did Zohran and his family come here if they don't like our values? If they wanted socialism,
to change the
communism,
country. Yeah, now, Nicole, Congresswoman, sorry, you're so young, Nicole. Because they want to change the country. Because it's better than where they were, right? It's better than they still don't like it. They want to change the country. They want to totally upend the old system and put in a new system. I'm sure the radical imam wants more of an Islamic way of living, and that's moderate for him. But I don't think most people get that that's kind of what the plan is from the radical side. They don't understand that.
In other words, he's a useful idiot of the radical left, of these extremists that want to bring socialism, communism to this country. And I have to say that, next year is going to be the 25th anniversary of the September 11th attacks. We cannot allow this man to be the mayor. We cannot allow this man to be the mayor next year.
Cuomo laugh and agree when a radio show host said that I would cheer another 9/11. When I listened to the current mayor of this city explaining his decision to endorse Andrew Cuomo as a decision to ensure that New York City does not become Europe, that we do not leave it to violent extremists who burn churches in Nigeria. When I listen to all of this and then turn on TV and see ads that have the words of terrorism and jihad on top of my face that not only mock the way that I eat, but are all intended to terrify New Yorkers as to the prospect of having a Muslim mayor, I decided that it was simply too much. It was too much to think of these as the acts of desperate men looking to salvage the little power that they still had. It was, in fact, a reflection of Islamophobia within our political system that has become so endemic that when we hear it, we do not know from which party it comes. We just know that it is a fact of life in our city's politics. And amidst all of this, the focus of so many is just how much bigotry they can engage in.
I get messages that say the only good Muslim is a dead Muslim. I get threats on my life.
Okay, but then how do I?
On the people that I love. And I try not to talk about it. because the function of racism, as Toni Morrison said, is distraction. My focus has always been on making this a city that's affordable, on making this a city that every New Yorker sees themselves in. And it takes a toll, because this is a city that every single person deserves to be in. It's a city that we all belong to.
I'm very lucky in that I have 5 other DSA-endorsed comrades who are with me in the Assembly and in the State Senate. But, for example, before we were elected, Julia Salazar was in office for 2 years without a single other socialist endorsed by DSA and understanding. It then makes it much easier to run a campaign that will be built around raising class consciousness, because we will run the campaign challenging the current status quo and showcasing it through our critique how this is an issue of capitalism. Good question. So there are 107 Democrats in the New York State Assembly out of 150 assembly people. And of those 107 Democrats, there are 6 DSA endorsed electeds and 7 DSA members. We have a 7th person who's a DSA member, though she wasn't endorsed by DSA. Her name is Jessica Gonzalez Rojas. We clearly do not have the numbers as they are in this moment to win the radical legislation that we need to bring about and begin to believe that these kinds of results are sufficient. We have to continue to elect more socialists, and we have to ensure that we are unapologetic about our socialism. Now, we had an academic boycott campaign to, and one of the aspects of that was to fight to stop study abroad at universities in Israel that were complicit in the occupation, many of which through the development of weapons technology for the IDF. Now, by bringing the issue of Israel-Palestine apartheid to Bowdoin, you bring it front and center, it's harder to ignore. And then making sure that we move to dismantle that relationship. Those are things that you can do as a legislator, right? You can, like, for example, Governor Cuomo has an executive order barring, I think New York State from doing business with any company suspected of sympathizing with BDS. One thing I can do as a legislator is once we build up enough, build up a large enough coalition for this, we overturn that executive order. But I sincerely believe in this political project. I sincerely believe in socialism. For me, it was Palestine that brought me into this movement.
It's just very difficult.
It is it can be such a lonely experience to be a socialist, and it was for me, country, because my journey, as Oren alluded to it and referred to, in organizing began at my college campus with Students for Justice in Palestine. To power this journey in understanding that it is socialism that we are fighting for this moment right now, right? If we're talking about the cancellation of student debt, if we're talking about Medicare for all, these are issues which have the groundswell of popular support across this country. But then there are also other issues that we firmly believe in, whether it's BDS, right? Or whether it is the end goal of seizing the means of production.
What's wrong with you people?
God's word warns us about people like this in Colossians 2, verse 8 of that Bible, the basic instructions before leaving earth. Beware, lest anyone cheat you through philosophy and empty deceit, according to the tradition of men, according to the basic principles of the world, and not according to Christ. Mom Donnie doesn't look to Jesus. I pray that he does someday and stops worshiping these false guys that he does. I pray for every lost soul out here that doesn't recognize the one and only true living God and Lord and Savior. Jesus is the only way anybody's getting to heaven, the only way that you're going to get to experience eternal salvation. So repent of your sins while you still can and put faith in Jesus. Amen. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, ring that notification bell so you know every time I post a new video. If you like what I'm doing over here, you want to show a little extra love and support, be sure to check out our website, crownandthread.com. That's where you can grab all the awesome clothes you see me wearing in all of my videos, like this one. It says, he conquered as the lamb, returns as the lion. The Lion of Judah, that would be King Jesus. And these are all handmade by my beautiful wife. We got tons of different designs to choose from, Christian, conservative, sizes ranging from itty bitty extra small to big and hefty 5X.
You guys know we get these thoughts to come on our show and we have discussions. It's worth it to bring some of these OnlyFans girls on or these bimbos so you guys can see with your own eyes how modern women are. Because here's the ugly reality when it comes to men. Most of you watching me right now are simps. Since most of you guys are simps, content like this doesn't wake guys up to understand what the it really comes down to when it's female nature. The problem here is that Neon's impressionable audience is gonna think that this is an appropriate way for women to deal with you. No, it's not. It's one thing to platform thoughts and roast them so that you guys could wake up. Since most of you motherfuckers are simps, it's not enough for me to just tell you guys, stop simping. Me telling you that you need to be the leader, that you need to be attractive, that you need to have your together. That's not enough. What I really need to do is bring these girls on the show so that you guys can see real time in 4K how they don't give a about you. There's nothing more red pilling than bringing on attractive women and letting them just say the truth about how they really view a majority of men, which a lot of you guys fall into. So as you guys can see, Neon has been doing some, collabs with some celebs, right? What I call like normie celebs. So the description is, Neon found out, yes, Jules and her friend don't really f with him and are just on his stream to promote their brand. She really said he is only getting the shorts if he wears them on stream and shouts it out. Bro, that's fucking pathetic. But let's see what they got to say.
Kiki, do you have any questions for Neon?
What do you want to know? I'm a very, oh shit, so, I got you.
Thank you. I'm dropping men's shorts.
You're dropping men's shorts?
Yeah.
Can I have some free ones?
Yeah, of course, but if you wear them and shout them out on stream.
Okay.
Bro, what the these bitches are so thirsty, bro. If you wear them and shout them out on stream. And this is, see a shit like this just gets me annoyed. This bitch looks like a linebacker. What the fuck is she wearing? Bruh, what the fuck is this? Bro, she looks like she's a fucking left tackle. What the fuck? Yes, Jules? She might have to change her name to fucking yes whale. And now here's the thing, bro. And I talked about this before. I've been telling y'all this for years now at this point, but I love being vindicated every fucking day. Here's the reality, all right? Female streamers / entertainers are not interesting most of the time. And the reason why is because, especially female streamers, they rely upon their sexuality and their looks to get a fan base. The problem with that is though you can get people watching you, people, subscribing, people following you, they don't actually respect what you got to say. They're just there for their own perverted reasons most of the time, right? So this puts female influencers in a weird spot because they have to rely upon men that actually do have an audience that like them for them to grow their shitty audience that doesn't like them for them. Does that make sense? So in other words, most female streamers can't actually captivate their male audience outside of sexuality and the way that they look. So they have to constantly leech off of male influencers to get an audience, okay? To push their OnlyFans or whatever else it is. Because most of these bimbos are not interesting people. And the reason why they're not interesting people is because they've never had any real trial or tribulations in their life because most attractive women have lived life on easy mode. So what they have to do is they have to leech onto male influencers that built up an audience over a period of time. As we speak right now, we got what, 4,000 or 5,000 you guys watching the stream, right? This comes after years of hard work of me proving myself to you guys, right? Prove you guys my competence, my background, what I used to do for work, right? Prove myself through, investing in real estate, showing you guys how to, become financially free. I tell you guys my story about how I segued from the government over to being an entrepreneur, teach you guys how to deal with women, all this shit. I had to provide an enormous amount of value to build up an audience. And then I had to continue providing an enormous amount of value to maintain said audience. I went from having a fitness channel to having the #1 dating podcast to now, not only do we run that podcast, but I've been able to pivot and talk about other topics because of my vast knowledge base on different things. Now we're out here doing debates against college students on political topics, right? So I've had to constantly keep myself sharp and refined and be able to stay up with things, to be able to, not just get an audience, but also captivate audience and keep that audience to stay. And this is why this is why most influencers that are successful and most podcasters that are successful are fucking men. Because men constantly have to provide value to their audience for them to watch. I'm not a fucking hot chick, okay? You guys really can most of y'all right now are probably listening to me on audio. You guys aren't even fucking watching the video, and that's fine. But that goes to show the difference, right? Men are merit-based. The way we look doesn't really help us get an audience, but it definitely helps a woman get an audience. But that's a double-edged sword. Dudes are over here watching them Nagoon. They don't really give a fuck about what they got to say. So these women have to go on platforms where they do give a fuck what they got to say because it's a male fucking streamer. Okay? So that's what it is. That's what it is. So I'm not surprised that these girls are leeching off Neon, and I genuinely do think that he's letting these women leech on him too much, because here's the difference. You guys know we get these stats to come on our show and we have discussions. But what do? We show that they're retarded. We show that they're, their critical thinking skills suck. We roast them, whatever it may be. So it's worth it to bring some of these OnlyFans girls on or these bimbos so you guys can see with your own fucking eyes how retarded modern women are. Because here's the ugly reality when it comes to men. Most of you niggas watching me right now are fucking simps. Let's just keep it all the way a buck. Most of you motherfuckers are simps. What is a simp? A simp is an individual that will give attention, time, and resources to a woman who doesn't necessarily reciprocate, okay? Do not conflate it with treating a woman well that does what she's supposed to do. I'm for that. I tell you guys all the time. We got a good girl. She does what she's supposed to do. She's good to you. She obeys you. She's submissive, etc. Give her the world. But the problem is that most of you guys don't have this. Most of you guys have some bitch that's using you where you cope and think, oh, yeah, it's an equal street. Meanwhile, she hasn't let you smash. She don't let you do nothing. You got to pay for everything. Fuck that shit, right? So since most of you guys are simps, right? Content like this doesn't wake guys up to understand what the fuck it really comes down to when it's female nature, right? And the problem here is that Neon's impressionable audience is going to think that this is an appropriate way for women to deal with you. No, it's fucking not, okay? And he's been letting these fucking bimbos like Iggy Azalea and this bitch just like use them, right? Without much benefit back. These chicks are washed. They don't have an audience. They don't have any fucking skill sets. Iggy Azalea just gambles on stream. She hasn't been relevant in the music industry in forever, right? So it's one thing to platform thoughts and roast them so that you guys could wake up. Because going back to what I was going to say before, since most of you motherfuckers are simps, what I have to do is, it's not enough for me to just tell you guys, stop simping, okay? It's not enough. If I tell you, stop simping, one of you motherfuckers right now is probably sitting next to a girl that doesn't like you that much and or is talking to a girl that doesn't like you that much. So me telling you that you need to be the leader, that you need to be attractive, that you need to have your shit together, that's not enough. What I really need to do is bring these girls on the fucking show so that you guys can see real time in fucking 4K how they don't give a fuck about you, okay? There's nothing more red pilling than bringing on attractive women and letting them just fucking say the truth about how they really view a majority of men, which a lot of you guys fall into, where they use you for your time, use you for your resources, lead you on, have multiple guys that they're seeing. This all comes out during Fresh and Fit After Hours. As much as it fucking pays me to do that goddamn show, right? Because these women are retards and, you know, after 5 years of talking to these bitches, which, by the way, is our 5-year anniversary today, by the way, Don DeMarco. It is the 5-year anniversary of Fresh and Fit, by the way, today, guys. We started our podcast October 26, 2020, right? But we're still grinding. We're not like these bitches celebrating our birthday every fucking day. Carrying on. Since most of you guys are fucking numbskulls and retarded, and you have to get your hand burned on the stove a bunch of times, I have to continuously remind you guys how these women don't fucking give a fuck about y'all, and that they use men, okay? It's one thing for me to tell you. It's another thing for you guys to see it on your own. And unfortunately, since most men are stubborn and stupid, they have to see it on their own. I'm hoping that you guys can see it on your own and then not make really bad decisions with females in the future. So that is why I do what I do. But the problem here with Neon is that his audience isn't getting any type of red pill like awareness on this. These bitches are just using him and he's not roasting them or anything. All right, here's another one.
Do I miss LeBron? I wish he was still on the Heat. Yes, very much so. We need him back in Miami.
Are you a LeBron fan?
I love LeBron. He's the best basketball player.
GOAT, right? LeBron or Jordan?
LeBron.
I feel you. Shout out to LeBron.
Like, he gives back to the community. He did it all with his friends. He's like building media networks. He's changing lives.
And he's still hooping at such a high level at such an older age. Yeah, for real.
Yeah, this, as you guys can see, groupie. And then check this out. Oh, where's the other one I had? I had another one. I'll go back to it. All right. Yes, Jules telling Neon she blames Kanye West for a failure. Let's watch it. This is going to be hilarious.
What's your biggest regret in life?
Damn, that's a tough one.
And just so you guys know, I cooked this bitch so hard on Twitter. Look at this shit. Where's she at? Yo, I cooked this bitch so hard. I think she said something about Kanye West on here. And I said, bro, there's 1,000 views. There's only one of him, you dumb bitch. You're fucking useless in a groupie thought. And she blocked me for that because I cooked her so hard.
I would say putting my brand aside to put my all into helping other people make their dreams come true.
Bitch, you would never have a brand if it wasn't for Ye. What are you talking about? Yo, and this is what I mean when I say these women don't live in fucking reality, bro. He has the gall to say, I put my brand aside for Ye. Bitch, what kind of fucking entitlement is that? You know how many dudes would kill to work alongside Ye? And this bitch is over here talking about, yeah, I put my brand aside for Ye. Bitch, nobody would know who you are if it weren't for him. And this is what I'm talking about. This is what infuriates me. These average bitches think that they're somebodies when they're not at all. In great thought. In great thought. You know what? Fuck it. Let's play the thing. Let's play the entire clip in its entirety, right? Play it in entirety, and I'll give commentary after. Fuck it.
What's your biggest regret in life?
Damn, that's a tough one. I would say putting my brand aside to put my all into helping other people make their dreams come true. That is my biggest regret, because who knows where I'd be right now if I would have kept going strong with 1 AM radio, kept my 10-person all-woman agency, and never left to go to Easy, etc. So.
Oh, you quit it? You stopped it?
Yeah. I mean, when you see how it is around Ye, when you're working with Ye, you don't have time to sleep or eat or shower, let alone run your own brand or business. I showered, but I'm just saying that was an
What's your biggest regret in life?
So, bruh, you know, and you could tell she needs to hit the gym. Pretty fucking overweight. But again, this is female entitlement, right? She thinks, oh, I put all my stuff on the back end for Ye. Okay, let's assume that's true. Why couldn't you get it back up right away? I mean, I would think after working for Ye, that would give you an insane amount of credibility and connections. Why the fuck did you not start your shit back up? Why isn't that successful? Why are you on fucking OnlyFans then? And this is what I'm trying to tell you guys when I tell you that these bitches be capping and they think that they're more important than they really are. Guys, how many times have we brought a girl on the show? Right? How many times have we brought some bitch on the show and she's over here acting like she's the fucking main character, right? How many times that happened? There's been so many times where we brought girls on the pod, they're disrespectful on the platform, they think that they're fucking the main character, they think they can talk out of terms, they think they can talk to me crazy, they think that deserve the world, they think the show centers around them. Like, how often does that happen? Like, damn near every show, right? There's one panelist that thinks she's a shit. When in reality, nobody knows or gives a fuck about her. But it's because all these fucking simps blow smoke up their ass that they, you know, all these simps blow smoke up her ass that she thinks she's on the same level. The fact that she even thinks, like, that her putting her business aside for Ye is like, oh my God, such a big sacrifice, goes to tell you guys that she feels as though she's on the same level as him where she had to sacrifice what she had going on. Not knowing in reality, you guys are not equal at all. Hence why you fucking dropped your shit in the first place, dumb bitch. But this is what I'm trying to tell you guys when I say, like, these women are just fucking ingrates. Fucking ingrates, bro. A lot of these modern women. And this girl's even hot. She's a fucking groupie mid, who I think she's in her 30s now at this point, or close to it. Right? It's fucking ridiculous, man. Here, let me find another tweet. One other thing I want to show y'all. And I'm roasting this chick because she says some bullshit about, oh, you built up your platform making fun of women, which I did. That is very true. But we add value in other ways as well, right? Whether it be political discourse. Hell, my political show gets more views now than Fresh Fit on some streams. So, you know, unlike her, we're multidimensional over here. We don't need to only, you know, be a one-trick pony. I literally covered it all. Here's another one.
Who is bigger, Drake or LeBron? Tough question. I don't know the answer to that question.
Use default credentials.
Do I miss LeBron? I wish he was still on the Heat. Yes, very much so. We need him back in Miami.
Are you a LeBron fan?
I love LeBron. He's the best basketball player in the
GOAT, right?
Let's
LeBron or Jordan?
try to like
LeBron.
I feel you. Shout out to LeBron.
Like, he gives back to the community. He did it all with his friends. He's like building media networks. He's changing lives.
And he's still pooping at such a high level, at such a...
Bro, this bitch, and then here, look at this.
And then we'll go... Is that your purse?
Yeah.
Wait, what the fuck?
Shout out to the Heat. We're having a rough week this week, but
very rough, very rough. That's a fire purse. Here, I'm gonna leave this here, and then we'll go look for stuff.
Okay, where's my phone?
Pulls up on Neon with the 500K purse LeBron James gifted her. Bro, this is a married fucking man, bro. This is a married fucking man. This bitch talking about his dick size. He bought her a 500K purse. She's glazing, all the shit. Like, bro, this is a married guy, bro. What the fuck is wrong with this bitch? And this is why I tell you guys, yo, never, ever take some social media bitch seriously, bro. Guys, don't do it, man. Don't do it. Do not do it. Because she will put you on blast to further her career. She might sit there and be like, oh, it's innocent. I'm just talking about his D size or whatever. Bro, this nigga's married. What the fuck is wrong with you? And not only that, like, bro, Neon's audience are all like fucking kids, right? It's like a bunch of fucking kids. Why are you talking about this shit? What the fuck is wrong with you? Incredible, bro. Absolutely incredible. Guys, never, ever, ever, ever take that seriously that are trying to make it in social media and or get clout, bro. Because they will do and say anything to fucking advance their career. They'll literally say and do anything to advance their career. It's fucking nuts, man. Absolutely nuts. And that's what this girl is. I know Academics roasted her too, actually. Let me see if I can find the clip of Academics roasting her. We got the Julio stuff as well. We'll play a little bit of that shit. I think he went harder on her than I did. Yeah, because yes, Jules sued Ye for $8 million.
Guzzling and sucking cock and sucking.
Oh God. Oh man, we already know we about to see one of these crazy crash outs here. I'll go to this one.
Yo, this tweet sponsored by Ye. Eat a dick and die, whore. Straight up. Bruh, I'm on 10 with...
I wouldn't say that, but that is kind of funny.
All you bitches. I'm on 10 with all you bitches. I'm on 10 with all you bitches. Eat a dick and die, whore. Straight up. Fuck you, nigga. I don't give a fuck. I don't got... My job ain't to know no goddamn producers. I listen to music. I'm a fan. All of that shit y'all talking about, I made millions. You made millions on your knees sucking cock, yes, Jules. I made millions just doing my thing, listening to music. Artists call me. I don't call their producers. I don't call them. I don't call them. I don't got their numbers. They call me. So if I don't know a nigga producer, his right-hand man, his dude boy, I don't give a fuck about knowing no niggas. I talk to the main man, not the second in command. That's always how it's been. The whole time, Drake, my favorite artist. I never knew about a nigga named Mr. Morgan until like couple months ago. Nigga, ain't my job to know that. I'm a fan. You been on your knees sucking too much cock. Eat a dick and die, you fucking whore. That's all I'm gonna say to this bitch. Bro, I can't believe this fucking whore even tweet me, man. Eat a dick and die. Back to the music.
All right, let me show you how I cooked her. Here's the tweet chain, right? So she posted this shit. Oh, man. So she goes, 30-day difference in these two photos. Traded Pilates for lifting. Can't wait to see what another 30 days of consistency brings, right? I go, LOL, these thoughts can't even post a picture of their gym progress without themselves being bent over like the hoes they are, right? And she goes, your whole entire career is solely based off speaking down to women. You're literally nothing without the thoughts you speak of. Nothing you have ever done or said has any relevancy to anyone of importance. Well, actually, that's not true. I kept Kamala Harris out the White House, so I would say that's pretty relevant.
Welcome, punch.
Your existence is a shallow, sad story of a man who never got recognition he desired and so had to go about gaining an audience by speaking negatively about others. You are a bum and always will be. Then I go, checkmate. And I posted this shit. And this is an excerpt from one of her tapes. Immediate ratio. Booked. 178, 2.2. Absolute air fryer. How is this a checkmate? I had sex in my early 20s, filmed it, someone stole my phone and went to jail for extortion and they had to pay me upon their release, and you're still a bum who will never have as much money or relevancy as men, me. We will never be in the same room. You're a loser whose presence will never be wanted anywhere of importance. You look like you drove off two cartoons. God bless X. Getting fucked on camera is a major L. You're now 35-year-old pass around. No man of substance with half a brain will ever take you seriously. Not only do I have more money than you, but I have far more opportunity than you to find a partner. Meanwhile, you're
services
also
configured
you're a
for
whore.
the program. For example, using hostbuilder.configure service.
Absolutely air fried. 2.1, 139. 2.2, 178. 3.3, 2.5. Right? And I only had she had 557 views on that. I only had 104. So yeah, bro, like she blocked me after this for obvious reasons. Okay? Absolutely air fried that bitch. Let's finish seeing what Ack was talking about though. Or was it here?
I can't believe this bitch said, nigga, I just see Chad 2025, I'm not letting none of you dick sucking whores who are goddamn fucking prostitutes talk to me. I'm violating y'all in the worst way. Y'all might as well call me misogynistic. I'm going so hard at you bitches this year. By the way, niggas too, but they don't really comment when I talk about these niggas. But none of you cocksucking, cum guzzling hoes, I'm on bad timing this entire year. It is sponsored by Kanye West. He done inspired me, man. We shouldn't be tolerating some of the shit you fucking whores done been trying to say to niggas like us. That fucking whore, yes, Jews even trying to talk to me. Bitch, you spent half your fucking life on your knees, get your back blown out and sucking cock, guzzling fucking semen, you fucking whore. How dare you talk to me? You done sucked up half the industry talking about Big Act. You fucking whore. I don't want to.
Hey, I hit her with surgical precision, roasting her on Twitter. I could just drop the bomb on her. Fuck it.
So the service.
All I did was fucking snipe. As you guys, all I did was fucking snipe. This dude Ack. And I guess for him, this pisses him off even more because this is his fucking industry. So I guess, obviously he's going to be a lot more pissed off about this shit than regular people. But this is funny, entertaining.
Ain't nothing from the whore today, bruh. Sit your whore ass up. Get some Listerine. Fucking cock-sucking bitch. When it's dick-sucking time, we'll call you. Fuck.
No, I mean, he's speaking facts though, bro. Like, look, the frustration comes because, these 304s really think they can sit there and talk shit to you, man. It's like, bro, if I was a female, right, and I was on OnlyFans, and I was being a thought, I would never talk shit about niggas, bro. I would literally just, or even if niggas roast me, I would just shut the hell up. As a female that's on OnlyFans or being known as a thought, you should always shut the fuck up, bro. Every single time. You already failed at life. All right? So the fact that you're out here talking about LeBron and Drake's D sizes and how he gave you a 500K bag and you're trying to sell some shorts and you got to advertise, like, bro, you're a fucking L altogether, man. Blaming Ye for your fucking failures. Oh, man.
How don't you know this guy, nigga? Maybe because you sucked up the entire studio for every nigga studio session, you fucking whore. I don't know the runner. I don't know the engineer. I don't know these other niggas. I know the artists. You done sucked everybody's cock. Executive to athletes, the fucking producers. You're a whore.
Yeah, funny shit, bro. Funny shit. But anyway, that's enough of that slut. But another red pill lesson for you guys. Don't fuck with girls like this, bro. Attention whores like this, you stay away from them, bro. And as you guys can see, all that gym progress didn't do shit. She's fat again, as we can see from these fucking videos.
As a child, I was always so outgoing and was never afraid to share my feelings or express myself. However, as a young black man, it wasn't seen as acceptable. It wasn't until I lost two very important people in my life I realized I was about to explode in a negative way, and I didn't want that to affect
I have
anyone in my immediate circle. You were
seen
patient with
quote
me,
like
you
this
allowed me
before.
space to
That's
breathe,
what it
and over
does.
time, you helped me return to that child who was emotionally free.
How old were you when we started?
I was still in my 20s.
Yeah.
I just turned 35.
Private.
Being a
You're not
black
gonna use
male
that one.
in a world that doesn't have a lot of grace for you often, to hold the death of your dad as well as your best friend, and to still hold this idea of what it means to be a man, I think it was work.
Yeah.
And like, you did great work. Not me,
Let me ask.
you did great work.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome to Supermicro's 2025 Open Storage Summit.
What really stands out to us is we are seeing enterprises adopting the AI rapidly. They are not just exporting the inference workload based on the foundation models. They are
All right, guys, I'm Dave Rubin. This is the Rubin Report on location in Brisbane, Australia. It's October 27th, 2025. And because I'm actually in the future in this part of the country, apparently we've just completed our Brisbane show. I'm sure it was absolutely amazing. I may or may not be on a plane back to America, and apparently I'm live tomorrow because Phoenix will not give me the day off. We've had an incredible trip here. It's been, it really has been 12, 13 days of just pure joy bouncing across the country and meeting you guys and doing the live shows and a couple private events and at the Concilium conference and a whole bunch more. It's really just been wonderful. I'll have a lot to talk about when we get back to America and catch you guys up, because it's so interesting. One of the things that I love about traveling the world is going to these different countries, and just a couple that I've been to in the last few years, whether it is Israel or it's Hungary or it's the UK or it's right here in Australia, seeing how many of the big issues, the real big issues, which at the moment are mostly, I would say, immigration issues related to culture and will the West survive, how they transcend borders. It's ironic. They transcend borders completely, that all of these countries are dealing with the same things. Americans, what does it mean to be an American? Australian, what does it mean to be an Australian? Et cetera, et cetera. And how will you defend your country, and will you fight for your country and your values and all of those things? So it's really just been absolutely, absolutely wonderful here. And as I said, we will be back live in studio in the free state of Florida in Miami tomorrow. And let's just dive in on everything that's going on in the world right now. Most of it has to do with what I can only describe as a horrific impending disaster in the once great city of New York, a city that I spent most of my formative adult years in, which appears to be on the verge of electing a socialist slash communist slash Marxist slash little bit of jihad, Zoran Mandami. Let's start with Bill Maher show, because it is Monday, but we're not going to throw to the intro today. He had a former Biden comms director on the show. Her name is Kate Bedingfield, and they got into how Mamdani is a dual citizen with Uganda, which I suppose in itself is just fine, although he does seem to want to import a lot of Ugandanese ideas here into America. But that in Uganda, they still have the death penalty for killing gays. Now, this is a guy who's always out there with the gays. He never invites them over for his, mosque parties, but he's out there with the gays. He loves the gays. Should he renounce his citizenship? Listen.
The issue now that Andrew Cuomo
So
is
he's
bringing up in
doing
New York
a
is that he is a
system that
Ugandan
outweighs
citizen.
system.
Uganda is a country where they kill
Console that
homosexuals.
right out.
So somebody who is a dual citizen can't be mayor of New York?
I would renounce, if I was the dual citizen with a country whose policy, government policy, was we kill homosexuals, yeah, I would renounce that citizenship.
Interesting.
And to not, And he also
I think that is buying into a fear framework that is
a
not
fear
good.
of killing
Is not good.
homosexuals.
It's not good for the country. It's not good for the country.
You shouldn't be afraid
and I
of
think
that.
the way that
Fear of killing homosexuals. Yeah, well done, Bill. I mean, this clown who works for Biden, she was a comms director for a man who wasn't even checked in mentally the entire time. But it just goes to show, these lefties put politics over everything. You worked for the Biden administration. You had the trans people dancing outside the White House. You chopped off all the kids' genitals. You were all about the entire queer thing, right? Now a guy's coming in who is from a place where they kill gays. At the mosque that he prays at, they don't do gay weddings. Again, I'm not for forcing it. I'm just exposing his hypocrisy. His imam was a co-conspirator in the 1993 terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center. We can go on and on here with all of his friends and pals and cohorts and comrades, as they say. We can do all that. But it's so interesting that what her gut feeling is that you're just playing into fear about this guy. But Bill is right. This is the tough part of defending liberal principles. Bill is defending liberal principles. He would prefer that gays not be killed, right? Oddly, the progressive wing will defend a guy who is pretty much okay with that. And the reason I'll say he's okay with it is unless you can show me a video of him saying, all right, you know what, I don't want to give up my citizenship. That's a bit much, and I can understand that. He's from that country. I assume he still has family there. I think he got married there. He doesn't want to give up citizenship. But how about condemn the Ugandan government? Is there any video of that? Probably not, because then he knows if he goes to Uganda, he might get beheaded. Uganda be kidding me. All right, here's Zorhan himself, and as always, he's mostly concerned about the wrong things.
Sora 2 is now on Artlist.
And you're still here? Go to artlist.io.
You now have the most advanced AI video model on the market at your fingertips. Get incredible realism with fully integrated sound.
You keep the frame, I keep the story.
Build your own world with multi-shot stories and character consistency for any genre, all based on your prompt. So go to Artlist and start creating without limits.
No. That's not what I wanted to know.
Chevy makes America's most dependable trucks. Because in a Chevy truck, dependability comes standard. Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
To be Muslim in New York is to expect indignity. But indignity does not make us distinct. There are many New Yorkers who face it. It is the tolerance of that indignity that does. For as long as we have lived, we have known that no matter what anyone says, there are still certain forms of hate acceptable in this city today. Islamophobia is not seen as inexcusable. One can incite violence against our mosques and know that condemnation will never come. Elected officials in this city can sell T-shirts calling for my deportation without fear of any accountability. The consequences are stark. More than 1 million Muslim New Yorkers exist in this city only to be made to feel as if guests in our own home. No more.
Let me get my words right here. I'm writing out a few things. This guy is an absolute scumbag, and every single thing he says is a complete and utter lie, and you better realize it soon, New York. The clock is freaking ticking. Do you hear the ticking? It is getting louder and louder. First off, Muslims in New York expect indignity. What are you talking about? Muslims in New York have the same exact rights as everybody else. You pal around with people who literally call for genocide. You will not condemn, globalize the Intifada, blah, blah, blah. So it's just pure nonsense. Also, people selling T-shirts to kick you out. The T-shirts, if the T-shirt said, kick out and kill all Muslims, that would be an infringement on the First Amendment because it would be a direct call for violence. Saying that you should be booted out of the country, I don't like you. You should be booted out of the country. You are here to destroy America. We have free speech and free expression, and people are allowed to wear that T-shirt. But he desperately wants to be the victim, right? Born with a silver spoon, got the lo-fi music, got the soft lens, got all the money, has all his fake accents depending on who he's talking to, and he's also the victim. And also, as it pertains to Islamophobia, which is a completely nonsensical made-up word, a fear. What is a phobia? A phobia is an irrational fear. If you are gay, what should you think of Islam? Do you think that's irrational? If you are a woman, what should you think of Islam? If you are a non-believer, what should you think of Islam? If you're an ex-Muslim, what should you think of Islam? If you're a Muslim who just, you know, wants to go out and have a good time, what should you think of Islam? Are any of these things illogical fears? It is complete and utter nonsense. It is a word. Oh man, what's the Christopher Hitchens line? Can someone Google it? Christopher Hitchens on Islamophobia. He's got a great line on it. But it is a word that is basically designed to break brains. I think he says something like, Islamophobia is a word designed for morons. We've almost got it here. Watch this. We are fact-checking live. I will get the exact quote. A word created by fascists and used by cowards to silence morons, something to that effect. Did I basically? Yeah, that's it. I want to give credit to a woman by the name of Amy Meck. She's on Twitter. And you should follow her if you don't, because she has been tracking what's going on with these false cries around Islamophobia and radical jihad and the rest of it for years and years and years. And this tweet popped up. She, back in February of 2020, remember, where are we right now? We're at the end of October in 2025, but in February 2020, 5 years ago, she was already tracking and predicting what was going to happen with Zoran Mamdani. Listen to this. Threat alert, New York. Democrat Socialists of America leader Zoran Kwame Mamdani is a Muslim immigrant from Uganda who is running for the New York State Assembly District 36. Mamdani describes how Muslims are the victims of 9/11 and continuously pushes unproven claims of discrimination. She was absolutely right about him then. And of course, the clip that you've probably seen already, so we're not even going to bother showing it here, is that Mamdani now is out there with, you know, these crocodile tears claiming that after 9/11, his aunt was afraid to wear a hijab in the subway. Now, I was in New York during 9/11, and you know what happened immediately for weeks after 9/11? Everyone ran around making sure that nobody was bigoted or hateful. There was more of a concern for the Muslim community on 9/12 than there was on 9/10. I assure you about that. That doesn't mean there wasn't individual acts of racism. That is part of the human condition, which they would love to wipe out because they're not thrilled with the human condition as it generally stands. But he basically said his aunt, and this whole story sounds fabricated. There's a lot of reasons to believe it's fabricated, but he was crying about his aunt who couldn't get on a subway after because she was getting mean looks. I thought Scott Jennings on CNN had quite a good take on that.
I speak to the memory of my aunt. Who stopped taking the subway after September 11th because she did not feel safe in her hijab.
Today he has his press conference. I watched a chunk of it. I didn't hear any words for the victims of 9/11, but he found the real victim, his aunt.
Is he?
You know, I mean, the victims of 9/11 were in the Twin Towers. Those were the victims.
Is the implication here that he has to answer for the terrorists who attacked 9/11?
No, I think if you're going to have if you're going to run for mayor of New York City, or have any position in New York City, and you're going to talk about 9/11 or invoke 9/11, you darn sure better start with the people who died in the Twin Towers. That's what I think. And he didn't do that.
Yeah, that's right, because he's a leftist. And what do leftists do? Victimhood is at the top of the hierarchy.
Why
so
do
he's
you
trying
add
to
a
use guilt,
here?
unearned guilt and victimhood. He's trying to extract the emotional price from the voters to make it seem like somehow he and his aunt was the victim, not the thousands of people who died. And by the way, because he is for current jihad, he is a Hamas supporter. Because he is for that stuff, there's every reason to believe he was for the 9/11 attacks. I'm sorry, and the fact that, oh, by the way, his imam was the co-conspirator, an unindicted co-conspirator in the 1993 World Trade Center attacks. I don't like this guy very much. Good luck, New York. Let's talk about crypto.com for a second. And then there's an even, well, I can't say he's worse than Mamdani, but there's a guy who I'd say is Mamdani light. No, or he's worse. I don't know. Well, we'll talk about Gavin Newsom in a second. Cryptocurrency isn't just the future, it's already reshaping the world of finance. And one of the leading companies in that transformation is Crypto.com, the trusted platform used by millions around the globe. Recently, Crypto.com partnered with Trump Media and Yorkville Acquisition Corporation in a major $6.4 billion initiative built around CRO, Crypto.com's native token. CRO powers fast, low-fee, decentralized finance, stalking rewards, and real-world benefits like cash back on everyday spending. This collaboration underscores how far digital assets have come and how platforms like Crypto.com are helping bring cryptocurrency into the mainstream economy. To learn more about Crypto.com and explore the future of digital finance, visit Crypto.com today. All right, so Gavin Newsom is back in the news, and yes, in case you didn't realize it, he is running for president in 2028.
You're not afraid to go into red states. Yeah. When I saw you slinging shots behind the coffee bar, I thought this guy might run for president.
I have no idea. The idea that a guy who got 960 on his SAT that still struggles to read scripts, that was always in the back of the classroom, the idea that you even throw that out is in and of itself extraordinary. Who the hell knows? I'm looking forward to who presents themselves in 2028 and who meets that moment. And that's the question for the American people.
Is it fair to say after the 2026 midterms, you're going to give it serious thought?
Yeah, I'd be lying otherwise. I'd just be lying. And I can't do that.
First off, I would say to that interviewer, clean the jizz off your lips when you're interviewing that guy. I mean, just awful. Like, it's the jet lag 12 days later. That's one thing. Number two, the question for the American people is who can they vote for who will defend America? Who will keep people free? Who cares about the Constitution, the Bill of Rights? Who cares about individual rights, American values, Western freedoms, et cetera, et cetera? Nothing about them. And you only got a 960 on your SAT. You're a couple years older than me. I got a 1200, which was pretty good. Not even that great. They've made it subsequently stupider. So, you know, whatever. But like, it's just absolutely awful. But you might say, why did he only get a 960? Why was he in the back of the room? And it's because he grew up eating macaroni and cheese and bread.
But also, you know, it was also about paying the bills, man. And it was just like hustling. And so I was out there kind of raising myself, turning on the TV, started, you know, just getting obsessed, you know, sitting there with the, you know, the Wonder Bread and 5 stacks of,
you know, like the White Stack 5 story.
Come on. Kraft macaroni and cheese.
Yeah.
Grew up, bro. You know, then this student that was student is in the back with his head down, all of a sudden started throwing the baseball a little faster than everyone else and started, you know, make a few free throws because I was sitting there practicing 500 of them every damn night. And in high school, I look up in the stands, my dad's back up there.
Okay, dope.
And it's like, man, and he's bringing his friends and the captain of the team and you're like, gee, you know, and it just saved me and it got me into college.
God, they are all so inauthentic. The fact that a billionaire who's orange with that crazy hair is more authentic than literally every single Democrat will never cease to amaze me. So they were struggling to pay the bills, and he had to turn on the TV with the Wonder Bread and the stack, and he ate macaroni and cheese. Oh, not macaroni and cheese. Like, I eat half the kids' macaroni and cheese. Everybody loves macaroni and cheese. That's number one, right? Like, if you don't like macaroni and cheese, something's wrong with you. That's number one. But also, pretend he wants you to think that he grew up poor. Well, it turns out that his father worked for Getty Oil, and his grandfather, Gavin Newsom's grandfather, was an oil tycoon, okay? How about this image from Gavin's high school? Look at oh, he looks so poor and hungry. And is that, am I looking close enough? Is that macaroni and cheese off his lapel over there? What's going on over there with that scarf? And he was the most stylish in all of high school as a senior, which, you know, the poorest kids are always considered the most stylish, right? And of course, this picture has been making the rounds. Look at this. I mean, this is wild. That is Gavin Newsom with a couple of his high school buddies in 1999. 1991, and the San Francisco Chronicle is doing a piece on the rich kids. Look at them, and you've got two of the Gettys. Have you ever been to the Getty Museum? Have you been to the Getty Villa in Malibu? This guy had a lot of money, and he's hanging out with, I don't know if those are the grandkids or what, but like they fake everything. It's a completely made up construct because their ideas are bad. Here is example 32:17(1)b.
All this anti-woke stuff is just anti-black. Period. Full
Example
stop.
in different
All the
practice. If
CRT,
you
ESG,
inject
DEI stuff, that's all this is. It's this great purge, and it's happening in real time. And I'm sitting here, and I feel like,
works
luckily I'm governor,
fine,
but like we're not doing
you
enough.
have to
We're
know
not
the
calling this
path
out. We're not drawing a line here. And again, it's not about Democrats or Republicans. It's about who we are, man. Yeah, it's right and goddamn wrong. Daylight and dark.
Right and goddamn wrong. He is evil. Whoever you are, that's what he's saying. Is it's not about that. It's whoever we are. I'm not you, brother. Okay, and I can pretend when I'm with black people to speak a little bit differently too. Which is another thing they all do. They code switch. They even have a term for it. We code switch. I'm with Asian people, and I'm with them, and I talk. I'm with black people, and DEI is evil. All of the woke stuff is anti-white racism. If you are looking at 10 resumes and people have equal qualifications and then you decide to bring their race into it or their genitals or whether they wear big furry hats while they're having sex, there's something wrong with you, okay? You should be colorblind, all right? So you guys have instituted systemic racism, and the fact that now he's still going for it now, which I do think is particularly interesting because a lot of us thought that we thought the kind of woke thing was dead. Now the Mamdani version is bringing it back with the dash of jihad, but now he's going all the way back to it. So they obviously are doing some testing within the Democrat Party, and people still want it. So if you are white, if you are straight, if you are sane, certainly if you're Jewish or anything else, you must leave the Democrat Party. You should have nothing to do with these people. And Gavin, by the way, if you believed any of it, you would not run for president. You would find a colored person, because that's what you think of them, really. You would find one of them and you would back them to run because you're a rich white guy who wants to pretend he's a poor guy, but you would give them the job. But we know you're not going to do that. I thought this was pretty good from Representative Mike Collins. This is unbelievable. Gavin Newsom gave 62,000 commercial driver's licenses to illegal aliens and migrants. Every one of these jobs was taken from an American, and every one of these drivers puts the public at risk. It's unacceptable and dangerous. That is incredible. 62,000 illegals driving trucks. We showed you the video a couple days ago. There's been many instances of this where these guys then get out of state and they kill people on the road because they're drunk and or high in other states. And that's the problem because we don't have walls that are separating the states, which I'm not necessarily calling for, although I would be for it with Florida, involving a moat and a gator and all that kind of stuff. But this is what they are going to do, and they simply are not going to stop. Everyone always asks, like, when does it end? Where is the bottom to this hole that is the Democrat Party? When does wokeness and leftism, when does it end? And right now we are seeing that it is genuinely a bottomless hole. It is just going to keep going and going and going and going. Now, that's not to say there aren't a few sane people in California, because there are. California, which, even though it's a one-party state, has probably the second most Republicans, if not the most Republicans in the country, because it's such a freaking massive state. Former Republican governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, here he is talking to Jake Tapper about what Newsom's trying to do with gerrymandering.
If no one ever taught you how to manage your money, or you're secretly ashamed of where you're at financially, this is for you. I want you to know that you're not alone, and this might be the most important thing you watch all week. Hi, I'm Britt Baker, co-founder of Dow Janes, and I'm here to
Anything that is temporary with government is permanent. So in the year 2032, when the Independent Redistricting Commission is supposed to come back, they're going to say, wait a minute, there's still gerrymandering going on in Texas. There's still gerrymandering going on in Ohio. There's still gerrymandering going on in Florida. We have to continue with the gerrymandering. This is what's going to happen. They will find an excuse. So therefore, I don't think it is temporary. So that's total fantasy. So the second thing is that you cannot cheat your way out of it. What they should do is, what the Democrats should do is they should outperform Trump. To me, it's all about competition creates performance.
I think Arnold Schwarzenegger knows a little something about competition, right? And of course he's right. Everything that the government does is temporary until it is permanent. So there will always be another excuse. Oh, we fixed these districts. And now you think the Independent Commission of California in 2032 is going to be like, well, we got what we wanted, but we are the Independent Commission. And now we're going to redraw those maps because everything's fair. Of course not. It will just be a furthering of the tightening of the screws against everyone who doesn't bow to the system. So Cali, good luck with all of that. But I would also say America, good luck with all of that. Between the rise of Mamdani, Newsom coming back, there are dark, dark clouds on the horizon in many respects. Let's talk about Perplexity AI for a moment, and then we'll continue on the other side. Let me ask you something. How much time do you spend every day clicking around on your web browser? Searching, scrolling, typing, juggling endless tabs? It adds up fast, right? Well, there's a new AI-powered web browser from Perplexity called Comet, and it's completely changing the way we interact with the internet. Comet isn't just another browser. It's like having a personal assistant that lives inside your browser and actually does things for you online. You can ask Comet to handle tasks, and it literally clicks, types, searches, and scrolls just like you would to get things done in the background while you go about your day. Comet can shop for you, make reservations, book flights or hotels, summarize articles or videos, send emails, schedule meetings, pay bills, find promo codes, even unsubscribe you from spam. I tried it myself, and watching Comet actually do things in real time is wild. It's like seeing the future of web browsing unfold right on your screen. You can even check out the demo to see Comet in action. So if you're ready to take back your time online, download Comet today at pplx.ai/Ruben. That's pplx.ai/Ruben. And when you download Comet right now, you'll get a free month of Rumble Premium. Try it today and let your browser finally work for you. All right, so to the backdrop of all that, before we get too black-pilled, let's talk about some of the good things that are happening right now. And you know, I always try to talk about the good things. I know there's a lot of people on the right that don't talk about the good things and are trying to break your brains and make everything depressing and everything else. But Donald Trump continues to rack up win after win after win after win, and we have to acknowledge it. We can't just make fun of these losers on the left. So listen to this from Fox News. Cambodia and Thailand on Sunday signed an expanded ceasefire deal that President Donald Trump helped broker over the summer, ending their border conflict. Trump threatened higher tariffs against both countries to push them into agreeing to end the fighting, which left dozens of people dead and hundreds of thousands displaced. The agreement requires Thailand to release 18 Cambodian soldiers held prisoner and for both countries to begin removing heavy weapons from the border. We did something that a lot of people said couldn't be done, Trump said. And yes, this is once again Donald Trump using American influence, not dropping bombs on people or making anyone live a different way, but using American influence in the most positive sense of that to get people to come to the table so that there is less violence, less displaced people, and less war and death, et cetera, et cetera. Here's Donald Trump mocking the freaks over at the UN.
I won't forget that day because it was one of the first wars that I got involved in, and I love doing it. It's like, I shouldn't say it's a hobby because it's so much more serious than a hobby, but it's something that I'm good at, and it's something I love to do. The United Nations should be doing this, but they don't do it. You know, they don't do it. They turned off my teleprompter when I made a speech. I had to make a speech without a teleprompter. They're good at that. The escalator wasn't working too well. It came to a complete halt.
So today's the day. I've got my RTA mock system and Coyote appliances. And they did tell me it was only going to take a few minutes. And I got to say, they were right. The big old box came from the shipping company. We pulled the front and back panels out, lined them up parallel. My wife Allie and I, we pulled together all of the pieces, and then that amazing system, these center pieces just lock them all together. It was really easy to snap together, and that's a rock solid connection. I've been cooking for 30 years in hotels and restaurants, on location, on television. This thing is rock solid and it looks really sexy. So RTA, Coyote, They make it super simple. This is the configuration I wanted, and you can talk to them about exactly what you want. I wanted a 6-foot island. I wanted a 20.
I mean, even that, like, that he still has a sense of humor about these things. Yeah, at the General Assembly, they turned his teleprompter off. Yeah, they literally turned the escalator off as he and Melania got on there. And he's right, they're not good at making peace. They're actually really, really good at continuing the grift of war and siding with all the bad guys always. And Donald Trump, Trump, I'll give you a little more credit than you give yourself. It is your hobby. Your hobby is actually making peace. Your hobby is the thing you love, which is bringing people to the table and figuring out how everyone can walk away from the table, maybe not getting exactly what they wanted, but feeling good about whatever deal came to pass. Joseph pointed out to me that the guy's averaging one peace deal per month right now. He's been in office basically 8 months. India, Pakistan, Congo, Rwanda, Israel, Iran, Egypt, Ethiopia, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Serbia, Kosovo, Israel, Hamas, and Cambodia, Thailand. And here's the Prime Minister of Malaysia praising Trump.
Thank you, President Donald J. Trump, for giving us this honor. And on behalf, of course, Malaysia and our colleagues in ASEAN, I must thank you for your concern, for your empathy, and for your commitment to support this peace deal. You personally did call both prime ministers to urge for a speedy peace settlement. The world needs leaders who promote peace strongly, and and to achieve that, you have to break some rules, as you did today. When President arrived, he asked me to join him in the car. I said that's against the security and protocol rules, and he was delighted to break the rules, and it was a nice ride.
Guys, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm an expert in this part of the world and what it takes to make peace, but what you see right there out of the Prime Minister of Malaysia is, hey, Donald Trump thinks about things a little bit differently, and he sat down with us and he hopped in the car and we talked about it, and everybody's better off for that. And what do you think the world would be like right now if AutoPen or Cackling Kamala was in charge? Some of those deals that I just laid out right there, all of them would be raging, obviously, like obviously. We'll have more on another part of the world where good things are happening in just a second, but first, CB Distillery. You know those nights when you just can't sleep and the next day you're exhausted and everything feels harder than it should? That's where CBD from CB Distillery can make a real difference. But it's not just about sleep. CB Distillery has solutions that work with your body to help ease stress, support recovery after exercise, and even improve mood and focus. And the best part, it's all made with the highest quality ingredients. No fillers, just premium CBD. Imagine waking up rested or getting through your day without those nagging aches and pains. That's the real win, and it's why over 2 million people trust CB Distillery. So if you're ready for better sleep, less stress, and to feel good in your own skin again, try CBD from CB Distillery. And right now you can save 25% off your entire purchase. Just visit cbdistillery.com and use promo code Ruben. That's cbdistillery.com, promo code Ruben. All right, so we mentioned the other day that Japan has a new prime minister. It's their first ever female prime minister, which does not really matter other than she is a badass chick who wants to keep Japan for Japanese people. She would like to kick out the people who have come, who are trying to destroy her country. Her name is Sanai Takachi, and here she is saying the Japanese people, who also have a huge problem actually as it relates to population collapse, because they're getting married way later, they're having way less kids. There's a huge cliff that they are coming close to when it comes to population, that they should start banging again.
Based on the understanding that Japan's biggest problem is population decline, we will establish a system to consider measures against population decline, including policies for children and child rearing.
Option A.
It is true that, given the labor shortages caused by population decline, there are fields that require foreign workers.
Azure settings in that environment.
Inbound tourism is also important. However, it is also a fact that some
looks
illegal
in the
acts
right
or
order.
rule violations by certain
Yes.
foreigners
Yes.
have created situations where the public feels anxiety or a
Foreign
sense of
defaults.
unfairness.
Okay.
While this is clearly distinct from discrimination, the government will respond firmly to such acts.
So you get what she's doing there? She's saying we don't want to be bigoted. we understand that not everyone who has come here is committing illegal acts, but we know that some of them are. We're going to deal with that. And also, we should be reproducing. And by the way, we do have labor issues. She's also dealing with it on the reality front. We have labor issues, so they want to deal with that. But as you guys know, the robots are coming. I think the Japanese are pretty good when it comes to technology and robots, and that will all be solved too. So if they were just to let in thousands and thousands of people just to have their labor jobs, well, when the robots replace them, then guess what? You have all these people on the dole and or seriously angry at you. So yes, it is good to defend your culture. It's good to defend your borders. It's good to have kids. It's good to reproduce. It's good to be proud of your country and where you're from and all of those things. And a guy by the name of Jordan Peterson has been talking about that for quite some time.
We teach young women in particular that the fundamental goal of their life is going to be their career. And, you know, first of all, most people don't have careers, they have jobs.
Okay, so
and
that's
those
all
are very different things.
Okay.
But you're not a very happy camper, so to speak, if you're 45 and you have no one, and it doesn't go upwards after that. So don't miss it. Little children pay you back immensely if you have a good relationship with them, you know, if you're on their side and encourage them, because they're an unconditional source of joy and love.
And that right there, as someone that's been away from my kids for 12 days now, is what it's all about, right? And that also is what sits beneath politics. We talk about everything from the political lens usually, right? So there you have the Japanese prime minister saying we have to have kids again. And there's sort of like a political reason. We have to repopulate, we have to have jobs, blah, blah, blah. But then Jordan gives you the most human reason to do that. And it's also just what we know. It's like what you fundamentally know to be true. We all just know it. So to tie this all together is the last clip that we'll show you while we are in Australia. And then, as I said, I will be back live from Miami tomorrow. I'm sure severely jet lagged, but we'll do the best we can. I wanted to show you this small bite from one of my talks at the Concilium conference. The topic was what's going on the right now, some of the fracturing on the right. And what I was trying to lay out was the idea that we've got to keep this tenuous wide tent together. There's a way to do it. It's going to be tricky. There are all sorts of forces trying to take it out, but that's the way that not only MAGA will continue, but an America that you and I love will continue. So we're going to show you a short bite right here. And the full thing is up already on our YouTube and Rumble channel, which we will link to in the description above, or below, I should say. Well, I'm on the other side of the world, so I'm not sure if it's above or below. I think it's down there. And we'll see you back in America. We were the shining beacon in the world where everyone from literally every corner on earth wanted to come to make a better life, and largely did that. But of course the exchange in that is that you're going to have people that have different religious beliefs. You're going to have people that have different philosophic beliefs, that are going to have different lifestyles and different foods and music and all of these things. And America, much, much better than Europe, integrated these people properly. And that is the promise of liberalism. And if the conservatives and the MAGA movement is to last, they are going to have to pick which way are we going to go on this. Are we going to be in America that is going to lead the world, that is going to defend liberal Western values, individual rights, universal human rights, or are we going to do something that is different? So Trump is basically trying to hold a very tenuous position. How do we balance all of these?
Welcome to our Chief Technology Officer program. I'm Lori Rosenkopf. Our 18 weeks of core content are organized into 3 phases: technology strategy, trends in technology, and then tools, techniques, and execution. I'll work with you to discuss the CTO role, its responsibilities and relationships, and we'll also consider the challenge of embracing more radical innovation while simultaneously
Donald Trump is Hitler. That's what the Democrats and the media have told us for 10 years. Hitler is the worst person ever. It's not possible to be worse than Hitler, and Donald Trump could not possibly be more bad. Therefore, Donald Trump is Hitler. You're following this? This is what they've been telling us. That's what they told us 10 years ago. That's what they told us even after an assassin almost killed Trump twice. That's what they continue to tell us today. Except now, as the Democrats look ahead to 2028, many of them, prominent Democrats, are turning their sights on J.D. Vance. They got to beat Vance. And that is why they are falling into what I call the Hitler paradox. Democrats, bereft of good issues to argue on, they're on the losing side of basically every major issue, they need to resort to the most hyperbolic rhetoric possible to scare people out of voting for the more attractive candidate. So they call Trump Hitler. But when the next Republican hits the scene, J.D. Vance, when Hitler's time is through, they have to argue that the next guy is even worse. But it is not possible in the imagination to be worse than Hitler. If there were someone worse than Hitler, then Trump would cease to be the worst person in the world, thereby making it less bad to be worse than Trump, thereby making Vance look better. Do you see how this works? If they say he's worse, they make him look better. If Democrats argue that Vance is better than Trump, then the Democrats make Vance look better than he does today. But by arguing that Vance is worse than Trump, the Democrats inadvertently rehabilitate the images of Trump and J.D. Vance, and weirdly also Hitler. I'm Michael Knowles. This is The Michael Knowles Show. Welcome back to the show. Very excited. You know, I'm still on the road. I'm in central Germany, or central Europe, I should say, traveling around Germany, other places. And as you can tell, I've taken on some of the local sprezzatura. I have a friend here said I didn't look sufficiently posh and European. So anyway, I think the tie is a little bit loud, but people seem to like it. So I'm still on the road. I'll be back next week. I'm looking forward to it. In the meantime, I have a friend stopping by today to give us a look into a very, very hot political seat. This guy, a little bit of a blast from the past, with maybe a little look into the Republican future. Maybe we'll talk about some Eyes Wide Shut parties. I don't know. We're going to get to that coming up. First, though, I want to tell you about Equip. Go to Equip, EQUIP foods.com/Michael Knowles, or use code Michael Knowles. How do you spell it? MICHAEL at checkout. I absolutely love Equip because I hate protein bars. I hate protein bars. They taste chalky. They taste gross. Okay, that's actually one of the reasons I love Equip. Okay, because if you're on the hunt for a delicious, convenient way to get more clean protein in your day that keeps you energized for hours, you got Equip Foods Prime Bar. The first of its kind grass-fed beef protein bar with only real food ingredients, absolutely nothing to hide, with 20 grams of clean protein. Starting today, our listeners receive an exclusive discount on Prime Bar, which has become our team's absolute favorite protein bar on the market. 20 grams of protein in every bar. It's grass-fed, uses just 11 clean ingredients like collagen, beef tallow, colostrum, naturally sweetened with dates and honey. Who doesn't love a little date and honey? No whey, no seed oils, no artificial additives. Rigorously third-party tested for contaminants. They've got chocolate, they've got mixed berry. I recommend the chocolate. It is absolutely excellent. I love it. Right now, go to Equip, EQUIP foods.com/Michael Knowles. Once they're sold out, you're going to be in trouble and you're going to yell at me. They've already sold out once. Equipfoods.com/Michael Knowles. Use code Michael Knowles at checkout. Get 25% off one-time purchases or 40% off your first-time subscription for a limited time. EQUIPfoods.com/Michael Knowles. Use code Michael Knowles at checkout and enjoy.
Clarins worldwide bestseller double serum, 2 serums in 1 with epi-aging defense technology, 22 plants and 5 molecules.
Where did the Hitler paradox come from? Well, it comes from logic, but why are we talking about it right now? Because Jen Psaki, this is not just some random Democrat, this was the spokesperson for Joe Biden and the only competent one that he had. This is the voice of the White House under the most recent Democrat president, making the argument right here.
I think the little Manchurian candidate, J.D. Vance, wants to be president more than anything else.
Yeah.
I always wonder what's going on in the mind of his wife. Like, are you okay? Please blink 4 times.
Yes.
We'll come over here. We'll save you. and that he's willing to do anything to get there. And that your whole iteration you just outlined, I mean, he's scarier in certain ways.
He's smarter.
In some ways. And he's young.
Yeah. And ambitious.
And ambitious. And agile in the sense that he is a chameleon who makes himself into whatever he thinks the audience wants to hear from him. Now, what's also true, though, is J.D. Vance is not, he's in some ways goodish on paper if you like what he believes in. I don't know. But I don't know that he can take the whole movement with him.
No way.
I don't think so either.
There's no riz.
It's got no riz, right?
None.
And he just is a little odd. And so Trump's odd in a different way. So I'm skeptical of that. So yeah, he's got to, I mean, everything going on right now, and I think we have to be very clear-eyed about this, is about trying to manipulate the public around elections.
Okay.
This happens every time. Some of you are not going to remember this. Some of you sweet little darlings out there who do not remember the Bush administration. They called Bush Hitler. They had little Hitler mustaches on Bush. Bush was Hitler. It's hard to imagine now because now Bush hangs out with Michelle Obama. And Bush is looked to as that halcyon golden era when lovable Republicans who were normal, who were good, when I could talk to this Republican. He's not like Trump, who's Hitler, but he was Hitler.
Okay.
And George H.W. Bush wasn't around all that long. He's obviously a one-termer. Reagan was Hitler. They called him Hitler. And so this time around, some people really believe that Trump was Hitler. And it's not even to say you have to like Trump. You could totally hate Trump or whatever. But it is pathetic that people would still fall for that. No, this one's really different. No, it's different this time. It's the most important election of our lifetime. And they went so far to the wall on this. This was not just some op-eds calling Trump Hitler. They tried to keep him off the ballot. They said that he posed an existential threat to democracy. They justified his assassination. They raided his home. They tried to throw him in prison 4 times. This was another level. This was the we're super duper serious this time. He's Hitler. And already you're getting the former White House spokesman saying, yeah, but JD is worse. If JD is worse than you lied to us about Trump, I guess you lied to us about Hitler. In as much as not even Hitler is really Hitler, in as much as in the popular conception, Hitler is the actual physical instantiation, the incarnation of absolute evil, which Christians don't even believe exists. We believe that God is the incarnation of good, and then all evil is a privation of the good. So it kind of flips that on its head. And so they even go too far about Hitler. And Hitler was a very nasty fellow. It means if they actually go out and say Vance is worse than Trump, they're saying, we lied to you about the fundamental thing. We justified the assassination of a president. We upended centuries of constitutional norms, and we did it all based on a lie. But believe us this time. Okay, good luck with that. I don't think that one's really going to work. Now, speaking of Nazis, really disturbing video coming out of a campus that a TPUSA chapter was on. I won't even preface it. Take a listen.
Hey Nazis, can you set up somewhere where I can avoid you easily?
Yeah, thank you. Have a great day.
Nah, f you Nazi. Watch your neck.
Thanks.
Discover Tucker's Cove at Babcock Ranch, the ultimate place to live and play. The only water park-inspired community in Punta Gorda, Florida, offering exciting fun for every age. This new home community is also the ultimate playground. With acres of top-tier recreation, relax on the shores of Luau Beach, kayak on a lake oasis.
Watch your neck. If you haven't been paying attention the last month, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. The Democrats, the liberals, the left broadly, minimized and excused and even celebrated the murder of Charlie Kirk. We don't want that to have been true. We don't want that to be possible, but that's what happened. And they've told us time and time again. They've told us on TV. They've told us in the legislature. They've told us on campus. They've told us on Facebook. They continue to tell us today. They go up to the TPUSA chapter. They threaten them with violence again. And they make light of the murder or they celebrate the murder. So Two things we could do about this. We could either bury our heads in the sand and say, we just need to free marketplace of ideas even harder, bro. We just need to do that harder. We just need to la la la. We didn't hear you say that. We didn't know. We're just going to exchange ideas graciously even harder. Or we need consequences. And I think most reasonable Republicans and conservatives and fair-minded independents know it's the latter. So what needs to happen here is people need to identify this young woman. They need to figure out who she is. They need to confirm who she is through the relevant authorities. They need to check with the school. They need to... Then she needs to be expelled. If this is a state-run school, ideally in a red state, it might be a little bit easier to do that, to put some pressure from the right-minded legislators and governors on. If not, might be a little bit harder. Donors, trustees might have to make calls. But this girl needs to be expelled. She needs to be prevented from gaining employment in most places. I don't know what she studies. If she studies anything, she cannot be hired to be a nurse or a teacher or this or that or the other thing. She needs to repent. She needs to be impelled to repent. If she doesn't want to do it, if it's not sincere, then she needs to repent like a 3-year-old toddler who is having a temper tantrum, who beat up his brother, who has to say sorry because daddy said so. And if daddy makes him say it enough, maybe he'll start to really believe it. But she needs to lose a lot of her status and her access in society. And it needs to be done all the right way and all through the relevant authorities. But she needs to be booted. She needs to be ostracized. And if she wants to come back into society, she needs to repent and she needs to grovel. She needs to beg on her knees. That cannot be tolerated. That girl has no business at a university whatsoever. Universities are not for her. Universities are for civilized people to be perfected in their education. They're not for that.
All right. Okay. All right. So.
And as far as I'm concerned, if I were running a company, if I were running a public institution, I would not want her anywhere near it. And people need to see that example. They need to have a proper fear of transgressing the right taboos and limits in society. They need to see what happens otherwise. And then maybe eventually they'll sincerely change their minds. But I don't care if it's sincere in the first part. We will have an ordered society. And as far as I'm concerned, the consequences will continue until the behavior improves. Okay, now, speaking of viral videos of bad behavior, people are crashing out because they're about to lose their EBT cards. We will get to that momentarily. They're going to lose EBT cards if the government continues to be shut down. The government shutdown, which is not being blamed on the Republicans for the first time ever in my lifetime. It's a Democrat shutdown, but still, people crashing out. We'll get to that in 1 second. First, though, speaking of commerce, I want to tell you about Shopify. Go to shopify.com/Knowles, Knowles. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world. 10% of all e-commerce in the United States. We even use it for our own Daily Wire shop to make sure things are running smoothly and efficiently so you get all the goods. You might be asking, what if I can't design a website? What if I'm worried people haven't heard of my brand? No problem. Shopify's got you covered from the start with beautiful, ready-to-go templates that match your brand style and help you and your customers through easy-to-run email and social media campaigns. If you need a hand with everyday tasks, their AI tools that are created specifically for commerce can help enhance product images, write descriptions, and more. Their award-winning customer support is available 24/7 to share advice if you ever get stuck. Turn your big business idea into with Shopify on your side. Sign up for a $1 per month trial. Start selling today. Shopify.com/Knowles, KNWLAS. Shopify.com/Knowles, KNWLAS. Shopify.com/Knowles, KNOWLES.
Vistaprint prints everything to get your brand in front of your fans, like t-shirts, water bottles, and totes, so everyone can gift it, work in it, and take it. Whether it's one of a kind or one for your whole team, if you need it, we print it with 20% off for new customers at Vistaprint.com.
Yes. The winter wind, so calmly majestic yet powerful. It's also trying to freeze your mandibles. You need
The government shutdown is rolling on. The Republicans have no real ability to stop it. This was an entirely Democrat shutdown. The Republicans offered a continuing resolution to keep funding the government according to the Biden budget, according to prior spending levels, the things that the Democrats had already previously voted for. Democrats are saying, no, we want all sorts of other stuff, like funding health care for illegals and other things. And the Republicans said, that's crazy. We're not doing that. The people gave us the White House and the House and the Congress, or sorry, the Senate, and we already, because of the presidential elections, had the Supreme Court. And no, we're not giving into your ridiculous demands when you have no political mojo. And they said, well, that's fine. We're going to shut down the government. And then you guys are going to get blamed for it. And a lot of Republicans were afraid of that. I said, I don't think the Republicans are going to get blamed. I know that's always happened in the past, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say the situation's different now. And you know how much I hate to say I told you so, I was totally right. So now we're starting finally to see some real concrete consequences from the shutdown, one of which is SNAP benefits, EBT, food stamps, might be put on delay. A lot of people don't like it. Here's one, just a little taste of the commentary going around TikTok.
I say if they don't give food stamps next month, we all just say it and rob the grocery store and tell them make me a grill.
They're just going to rob the store. There are a lot of videos like this. Some of them are rage bait. I think some of them are probably real and might actually be threats because people do rob stores a fair bit, and especially in the cities, especially people who don't vote for Donald Trump, let's say. And so there's this kind of lawlessness that's tolerated by Democrat mayors and governors. And the way the libs always justify it is they say, well, the reason that the people are robbing the stores is because they lack the material resources that they need. They need to go steal a loaf of bread to feed their families, which could be licit. If you need a loaf of bread to feed your families, it could be licit to steal that loaf of bread. It would not be licit to steal Air Jordans. It would not be licit to go rob cosmetic products from CVS. It would not be licit to go rob a liquor store. And so I'm a little bit skeptical of the whole point that these people are robbing because they can't feed their families. Frankly, I'm not so sure they have intact families. I don't think this is Father Knows Best, okay? But it's very important, not just because we're making fun of people. And you actually don't want to really make light of EBT and food stamps and things. Because some people really do rely on those things. And I know the libertarians might get angry at me for saying this, but I think it is important to have a social safety net in a society, ideally governed in a manner of subsidiarity that does not crowd out the church, that does not have accidental secondhand effects. But in principle, yes, a society should look after the poor. There will always be some poor. The poor will always be with you, and you need to care for them. You don't want to accidentally create people in bad behaviors that make them more poor over time. But in principle, we actually have to do that. It's a good thing to do that. It's a mark of a good and healthy society. But people don't rob the store because they lack money. There are very, very virtuous, very, very poor people. And there are very, very vicious, very, very rich people. And the connection between virtue and material wealth is far from direct. Here's a good example of how I know this is the case. What do people say now? You know, we don't have any kids anymore. Our birth rate continues to plummet, and it's just a disaster. We haven't had an above replacement birth rate in 50 years or so, and there's no end in sight to the problem. It seems to be getting worse. Well, some people say the reason that the birth rate has plummeted is because people don't have enough money anymore. They're not rich enough. If only we had a policy that would give people more money, then we could have more children. But the counterexample to that is we live in the richest society ever in the history of the world. People are richer. Your person that you pluck off the street at random is richer today in America than anyone has ever been ever for all of human history, and they're having fewer kids. It is far, look, I wish that there were just like some policy that we could institute that would dramatically tick up the birth rate. There's some evidence that if you provide certain subsidies and tax breaks that maybe people will have marginally more children, like maybe, kind of, if you like completely flood the zone, but that's really not it. You know what does get people to have more kids? Having them practice religion.
Got it. It is the
that does.
Environment.
Christianity, Orthodox forms, of Christianity, more traditional forms of Protestantism, Catholicism practiced in a serious way, Orthodox Judaism, Mormonism, these traditions that take their doctrine seriously and that are open to life. That makes you have kids, regardless of how much money you have. These guys, I bet, regardless of whether they get their EBT money, I don't think that will affect whether or not they rob the store. And it will probably be a liquor store. Okay, I want to talk about all of the ladyboys who beat up Luigi Mangione before he murdered the United Healthcare CEO. First, though, I want to tell you about Pure Talk. Go to puretalk.com/Knowles, K-N-W-L-E-S. There are a lot of reasons that I'm very proud and happy to say that Pure Talk is my wireless company. They don't just talk the talk, they walk the walk, especially when it comes to supporting our vets. This month, Pure Talk is choosing to support Canines for Warriors, an incredible organization that rescues and trains dogs and pairs them with veterans struggling with PTSD. These are men and women who served with honor, and when they come home, that brotherhood, that support network that they had in the military too often disappears. Canines for Warriors steps up to fill that gap, giving those heroes purpose, companionship, and healing. I love Pure Talk. Absolutely great service. You get great customer service on top of the great service. They support us. They support what we believe in. They support great causes. Go to puretalk.com/Knowles. Make the switch today. Go to puretalk.com/Knowles, K-N-W-L-E-S. Switch to America's wireless company, Pure Talk. I guess I kind of blew the story, didn't I? So the guy, Luigi, the left-wing, one of the left-wing terrorists, so we have to specify now, but one of the recent left-wing terrorists who murdered the United Healthcare CEO, apparently, allegedly, reportedly, because he had this kind of ideological axe to grind about wealth inequality or the healthcare system or whatever, murdered this poor guy, this father and this husband. Now it's coming out that Luigi, according to a report by the New York Post, was beaten up by 7 ladyboys in Thailand shortly before he allegedly committed this murder. For those of you who are wondering what a ladyboy is, I remember I heard about this because a buddy of mine went to visit Thailand. He did like a world trip when, I don't know, we were in our early 20s or something. And he told me, yeah, I didn't go, but he came back and he said, yeah, it was, man, the ladyboys are crazy, man. That's a weird thing. I said, what's a ladyboy? He said, oh, they're like boys who dress up like girls, and in some cases get the surgery, you know, the transgender surgery, and they're hookers. But they, anyway, he was like, it's weird. They're all over the place. I said, oh, that's pretty weird. What a strange aspect of society. I guess now, even though American liberals are encouraging this, you know, in elementary schools and stuff, you don't really see that as a widespread phenomenon. I guess that's what they have in Thailand. And a bunch of them beat up Luigi Mangione. Sorry, ladies. Sorry. It would appear from the evidence that those who were thirsting over Luigi, they're not his type. In any case, what's the actual practical relevance of this tabloid news story? The practical relevance, especially for you, is a reminder that sexual sins are really, really bad. You know, I sometimes say it's always the ones you most expect. You look at the disproportionate violence that appears to come from the transgender identifying community.
Chat GPT,
you notice that Ed
don't let me
Gein,
go,
this
bro.
trans
Make me
serial
work
killer, was the
way
inspiration
more
for some of the most prominent
than I
horror
need
movies
to.
ever. Psycho, Silence of the Lambs, and a number of others. There is a rejoinder to this from especially more liberal Christians. And they'll say, we just want you to know that sexual sins are not the worst sins. You guys need to stop focusing on sexual sins so much. You're the image of the traditional Catholic who's just focused on, you know, all manner of sexual sins. And yeah, you're right. They're not the worst sins. My main man, Dante, you know, greatest poet ever, right? Describes the Divine Comedy and hell, and he doesn't put the sexual sinners in the lowest pits of hell. Far from it. So they're not the worst sins. Treachery, deceit, fraud. These are much worse sins.
Configuration sources for
But sexual sins probably are the ones you should be most concerned about. You know, be concerned about all of them. But there is a reason that people have focused on them, because I think they're the most pervasive sins. I believe there have been some kind of mystical apparitions in which Our Lady has observed that the sexual sins are the ones that ensnare this huge number of people into hell. Why? Because sex is so much a part of our nature. That's why. Because it's so easy to fall into them. You can fall into pride and wrath and gluttony, and you can fall into all of these, but there's just something about sex. It's so central to our nature. It's so easy to go wrong. And because sin darkens the intellect, it just happens to be the case that when people fall into like weird sexual sin, a lot of other sins tend to follow. Now, there's some good news on this, because you remember, was it a week or so ago, there was that study that came out of the UK that said that non-binary identity is in free fall among young people. And some had concluded from that that trans identity was also in free fall among young people. But it was unclear, actually, from that study whether or not that was true. People could make that inference, but it wasn't really backed up by the numbers. Now, we got the numbers. The Cooperative Election Study shows that trans identity is in free fall among young people. Look at this graph. 2021, you see the non-binary identity there and the transgender identity. It's way, way up. Non-binary is at a little over 3%. Trans is between 5.5% and 6%. Then it goes even higher in 2022. This is post, year 2 of the year of our Floyd. This is reaching peak wokeness, which was around 2022, 2023. And then what happens? Then what happens is kind of weird. In 2023, non-binary ticks up a little bit, but it was still trailing trans identity in 2022. But trans starts to go down, 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 down. Now they're both in free fall.
To the early risers, work through lunchers, and emergency call answerers. To the party savers, holiday disaster averters, DIY fixers. At Supply House, we make sure you have everything you need to get the job done right. Because when things get tough, you get tougher. And you're built for this.
Okay, I'm just gonna do it here. It's squiggly.
Which means that, you know how much I hate to say I told you so, but I went on the Jubilee show. I was debating LGBT activists. I said, I think this identity is a social contagion.
The Lambda parameter.
And they were all furious about it. Because you're not allowed to say that. This was supposed to be an inborn, immutable characteristic. That's what we were told about the LGBTQ, LMNOP. We were told it was all immutable characteristics. You're born that way. It's an orientation. You can't change it. If you ever try to change it, it's conversion therapy. It's evil. It's wicked. It's terrible. It's wrong. It's not. Then why are the numbers going down? Is it because the trans-identifying young people are being forced back into the closet? Say it's no longer socially acceptable? You're talking about it's in our civil rights laws now.
Okay.
It's as socially acceptable just about as it's ever been in all of history. The numbers are still going down. So you have to then turn from your one thesis, which was the innate, unchangeable, that thesis, born this way thesis, to maybe human beings are mimetic creatures and we actually emulate each other's behaviors and even desires.
That is the configuration
And maybe,
you're modifying.
if that's the case, maybe we can actually do things to discourage those kinds of aberrant identities. Okay, that's good news. That's a good place to leave that on. Now, speaking of learning things, I want to tell you about the St. Paul Center. Right now, go to stpaulcenter.com/advent. America has reached a cultural and spiritual crossroads. People are looking for the truth. In their search, more and more people are turning to the Bible for answers. Bible Across America is a nationwide Bible study, the biggest Bible study in the country, hosted by the St. Paul Center for Biblical Theology, led by Dr. Shane Owens, Assistant Professor of Theology at Franciscan University of Steubenville. Grow in your faith and learn to confidently share it with others. Together with leading Catholic voices from across the country, this 7-week Bible study exploring the personal challenge of affirming Jesus as teacher and Lord. It premieres November 5th, continues every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Visit stpaulcenter.com/advent to join the nation's biggest Bible study today. We had a feeling Daily Wire lifetime memberships would be popular. Well, turns out having all access benefits for life with no renewals is something everyone wants. Here are your options. You can buy one while they're still available, or you could win mine. That's what you got to do. I have my very own lifetime membership to give away. I made it super easy to enter. Download the free Daily Wire Plus app in the App Store. Open it, tap follow under my picture. That's it. And you might be getting a call from me for your lifetime membership. Head on over right now at dailywire.com. My favorite comment yesterday is from YouTube Kathy, who says, imagine believing that words such as man can never become a woman is violence, but then actively promoting to shoot people in the neck as a peaceful protest. Yeah, I can imagine that, because for the left, They look at us and they say that our speech is violence. But then they look at themselves and they say their violence is speech. That's how it goes. That's how it always goes. Okay, very excited right now to bring on my friend, former congressman, maybe future congressman, going to give us a look at the midterms, Madison Cawthorn. The midterms will be upon us before we know it. A lot of the political calculations are out the window now. Typically, the party in the White House loses the midterm elections, but the Democrats are openly embracing political violence, and they've lost the popular vote for the first time in 20 years. And who knows? We just don't know what's going to happen. A lot of Republicans getting into the fray, which means that the Republican candidates at least think there's a good chance we do well in the midterms. One of those candidates, don't call it a comeback, is Madison Cawthorn, who was the youngest member of Congress elected to his class. He previously served in North Carolina's 11th district, if I'm not mistaken, and now he is looking to replace Byron Donalds in his seat in Florida when Byron runs for governor of Florida. I am joined by Madison Cawthorn. Madison, good to have you here.
Michael, it's great to be on, my friend. I wish I had a Mayflower cigar. It would complete the whole ensemble.
I was going to say, not only are you a great patriot, but also you have a great taste in cigars as well. So, Madison, your race in particular is very, very interesting. Okay. You got some of the most attention of anyone in your class. Obviously, you know, very talented politician to manage to get yourself elected as the youngest member of your class. A lot of people really liked you. A lot of people in Washington really didn't like you very much. And so anyway, you lost re-election. That was in Carolina. Now you're going to be running in Florida. Some people are going to say it's weird to switch states. I actually don't really think it's all that weird because in the Federalist Papers, Alexander Hamilton and our other framers envisioned that we'd have a more national kind of country over time. And really what matters more today, just as a fact of politics, is party allegiance rather than, you know, this district or that district. People switch districts all the time. That to me isn't all that surprising. What challenges do you think you're going to face in the race?
Well, you know, I think if I was someone that just kind of parachuted in right at the last minute when I realized that Byron was going to run for governor, I'd be facing a much more uphill battle. But, you know, I've lived in the district for 4 years. I've been very active in the community. I know a lot of great connections all around Southwest Florida, and it's my home. It's the place that I love. You know, I remember right when I moved back down there, I was hit by Hurricane Ian about 3 weeks after I closed on my house. And so I always tell everyone I got baptized as a Floridian, you know, just getting to see how all the community came together, start helping one another. It really gave me a love for the district, and it showed me what the kind of people are. And since then, it's been my home. I'm never looking back. Okay, so then the question that's going to be on a lot of voters' minds, I'm sure, is, all right, well, you lost last time, and you're going to run again this time. What have you learned since then? You know, did you take any lessons away from it? Was it just a fluke that you lost? Have you changed your views or your behavior in some way? What's the difference between Madison 1.0 and Madison 2.0? Well, Michael, I'll tell you, I think the biggest thing, and I hesitate to ever call myself wise, but I will tell you that I've gained a lot of shrewdness. I've gained a lot more wisdom since that time. And, you know, when you're 24 years old, I hold all the exact same beliefs and convictions that I held when I was first elected. But now I've gotten more of maturity and more a sense of how to fight those battles rather than just going in like a bull in a china shop. It's more so, you know, how can we actually move the needle in essence to be able to help the American people? You know, we are facing a lot of damaging situations in our country right now. And if we start electing people who are just going to go there and get led around like puppies by the leadership on both sides of the aisle, then we're going to face exactly the same status quo we faced for the last 6 decades. And that's not something that we can afford right now, especially with the temperature that's going on inside of our country. We need people who are going to go there, who are going to have the backbone to stand up fearlessly, but also have the shrewdness to be able to actually accomplish their objectives.
Yeah, no, I think that's an important point on shrewdness because I can't help but notice a lot of the personal attacks on you came out after you called out some bad behavior in Washington, D.C. You said a lot of people in our government, they do kind of weird, freaky stuff that's sometimes illegal and generally disreputable. And then I noticed all these personal attacks started coming out on you. I thought, I wonder if there's a connection between those two things. So, okay, let's go look into this race. Obviously, it's a different year than the last time you were in Congress. Different issues are rising to the fore, a different calculation. What are the Republicans in the midterms going to be running on? You know, you talk to Republicans across the country in 2024, they were running on the kitchen table issues, but transgenderism, transing the kids was a big issue, you know, protecting girls' sports or whatever. That was just a big issue that viscerally hit people. What are the issues you're running on now?
You know, I'll tell you, I think that now that we have President Trump in the White House in Washington, D.C., I think we're seeing a lot of those national issues start being handled in a timely manner, which is I'm very thankful of. But right now, I think just as a whole, as the conservative movement, we need to take a step back and say, why are the policies that our country is pushing forward not helping the next generation? Why can people that are around my age not be able to afford a home? Why is insurance so out of control? Why is our infrastructure so outdated and has not been actually tackled in a way that makes sense for everyday Americans? And so right now, I'm thinking about ways to diversify the economy in Southwest Florida. I'm thinking about ways to make sure that people can get into the home ownership game. And also because it's not just because owning a home is cool and it's a great investment. It's more so that owning a home is something that is paramount to the American idea. It's something that is so crucial for people to be able to own private property rights, because in this country, you know, your house is your castle. You are the royalty in this nation. You are supposed to lead it. You look at the first three words of the preamble of the Constitution. You know, it's we the people. We the people are the ones who are supposed to be steering the ship. And I think there's been such a movement by the left for the last several decades to try and encourage people to have children later and later, to abort their children so they don't have to have them, and not to own homes, to be a renter society. And I think that gives a much more long-term political game plan, because if you don't actually own the dirt that you're living on, you don't care about the status of the nation, you don't have any vested interest in the next generation, you don't care about, you know, the financial outcome of the country in the next 30 years, and then you're just going to, of course, say, vote, give me, me. Whatever I can take from others is going to be better in the long term, because I don't actually care about what happens in the future. And so I think we need to start attacking that. And even if we have to go outside of the normal conservative doctrine to be able to make home ownership affordable for people, I think that is the way we should be doing things.
And what do you mean by that? Because this is really interesting to me. When I was growing up, there were 3 bullet points on the back of a napkin on conservative economic policy. And if you ever questioned any of them, you know, any of the great doctors of the Church of Libertarianism, you know, St. Milton Friedman or something, on anything, you were cast into the outer darkness. In recent years, there's been I think a kind of reduction in the influence of that hardcore laissez-faire economic mindset. And not an abandonment of that exactly, but just a recognition that we don't want to put the cart before the horse. You know, we're not a political community serving an economic market, but rather we have economic markets to serve our political community. So what kind of policies are you talking about here to make home ownership more affordable?
What kind of stress are you experiencing thinking about AI?
That's fun, isn't it? And that's what people think AI is, but the fact of the matter is there's so much more. Use AI to get rid of the boring and the mundane so your creativity can go to a whole nother level. That's exactly what we're going to share at the AI Advantage Summit. To show you the old way.
Okay. So, you know, I think what people consider is what we do want with like laissez-faire economic policy is, I think, actually the way to go, especially if we're talking about overseas trade and here in America. But unfortunately, for the last 4 to 5 decades, we have not been having that. We've been having things that are just completely attacked, and the federal government has become so far involved that we really don't have any free markets anymore. You look at the cost of insurance in the state of Florida. There is literal regulations all across this country that make insurance prices, whether it's healthcare or home insurance, go through the roof. And it's because they stifle the ability for people to have competition. I'm all for a free market with actual free competition. But when you have overseas multinational conglomerates buying up single family homes, obviously we're pointing the finger mainly at Blackstone and BlackRock here. Obviously, that's going to make the ability for a single mother with 3 kids who lost her husband in a forever war that we shouldn't have been fighting in the first place, ability to be able to buy a home going to be impossible. When those children deserve to be raised, you know, in an American cul-de-sac where they get to go to prom, they go on vacation a couple of times a year, they get to have a great life. And so anything that we can do to encourage more competition in the marketplace, to bring prices down for everyday Americans, to make it so that we don't have such runaway inflation, whether that means going back to the gold standard or whether that means putting very, very strict dampeners on the amount of economic easing that the Federal Reserve is allowed to do. All of those things will net positives for the American people having more buying power with their dollars and for being able to be into the housing market.
Okay, now before I let you go, it's a red district you're looking at. So if you get the nomination, you're good. That's great. You don't need to worry about that. The makeup of the Congress generally a little less clear, where there's swing districts or gettable districts maybe for the Dems and for the Republicans. So if past is precedent, Republicans are going to face a tough year because it's the first midterm after the big presidential election. We are supposed to lose the House, and we've got a razor-thin majority as it stands. So all of history, all things being equal, says we should lose the House. Republicans should lose seats. But all things are not equal. We're in a very, very strange moment. Republicans have a unified government right now. The Democrats are celebrating, murdering Republicans and, open borders and rioting in the streets. And they're just on the wrong side of like every single 80-20 issue almost. So I'm open to the possibility that things shift. But if you had to be a brutal, cold-blooded political analyst right now, put your race aside. Do the Republicans gain seats or lose seats in the midterms?
I think we gain seats. The left has been playing without rules for so long in our our political process, whether you look at the way that they're gerrymandering districts, the way that they're trying to subvert people's actual voice to be able to select their own representatives. That's no longer the game that's being played. For so long, for the last, again, I know I've said this probably 3 times now, for the last 6 decades, Republicans' entire dogma and mantra was, hey, don't rock the boat too much. We don't want to rock the boat. We don't want to upset the apple cart. My entire mantra is that the boat is sinking. We need to fight right now like we're about to lose the Republic, because we absolutely are. And so I completely applaud what the GOP is doing, trying to redraw districts all around the country to make it more competitive for Republicans to be able to hold the majority, because this is what the Democrats have been doing for so long. And you ask yourself, well, that doesn't sound fair. Is that really right? These people have absolutely no values. Their only value is the gaining of power. And once they gain power, they're willing to use force. We saw this all through 2020 and the COVID, watching how they use force to perpetuate and make sure that people abided by whatever they were saying their values were at the time. But if you look, if you ask yourself, who is legitimately the leader of the Democratic Party? Is it AOC? Is it Chuck Schumer? They're both marching on this ridiculous death cult, trying to make sure that we can have a shutdown government, while the Republicans are out bringing world peace, sowing economic change that's going to change the face of America for decades to come. We are the party with a plan. We are the party who is a big tent party. We don't say that, hey, you have to be completely ideologically aligned with us or else you have no place in this party. No, we welcome people from different ideological backgrounds. The thing that I love about the right is we can have open debate without having to shoot somebody, or we can have open debate without saying, no, you're actually not a Democrat. You have to go to the other side. And, I hesitate to paint with a broad brush saying Democrats are all evil. I think people that were JFK Democrats, in the mid-90s, who are now starting to, they're kind of out of touch with what's going on in America today. I view them very differently than what's going on with leftists in this country. The leftists in this country hate everything that America stands for. They hate the direction our country's going in, and they will do anything so long as it gets Trump, even if it hurts Americans.
Yeah, well, I think you're right. Those JFK Democrats, I don't know. I think the last one of them, went away long ago. The battle lines are pretty clear, and I'm sympathetic to your point. You say, who's the leader of the Democrat Party? Because I remember the Democrats tried to pull this thing 10, 15 years ago. They said, Rush Limbaugh is the de facto leader of the Republican Party. And that, look, Rush was awesome. Would that he was the leader of the Republican Party. But, there was a kind of a gap between the base and the GOP at that point. And I thought it was a disingenuous kind of attack. Today, though, if we say AOC is the leader of the Democrat Party, I would just ask the Democrats, well, give me an alternative. Who do you think is the leader of the party? I'm saying AOC sincerely, but do you have an alternative? Gavin Newsom? Not really, maybe. That's probably just as bad. Schumer, I don't think anyone really thinks it's Schumer, kind of, and that's also no. So I don't know. Give me the answer, but I agree. The leadership all the way on down among the Democrats right now is just deeply unpopular. They picked those positions. They made themselves captive to their base, and they might upend precedent and give Republican seats in the midterms. Okay, Madison, where can people go to check out more of your campaign?
You can go to my website at MadisonCawthorn.com or follow me on any social media at Madison Cawthorn. Michael, I got to say, I'm such a big fan of your show, everything that you guys do. Thank you so much for all the cigars that you and I have gotten to smoke over the times. You're just a big hero in the conservative movement, and I really appreciate everything you do.
Well, I appreciate, as I told you all, it's very kind of you to say, Madison. And I said, you can judge a lot about a man by his taste in cigars. It's a real symbol of wisdom and judgment.
And Michael, I'll go even further. I think that Americans smoking cigars can actually save our republic. And I am not being facetious when I say this, because what's the one thing that's so unique about a cigar is it locks you into a 20 to 30-minute conversation.
Yes.
And I think almost every American, regardless of what political side you walk on, I think we all have about 10 to 15 minutes of pre-recorded messaging that's just been ingrained into our minds by whatever media we consume. But once people have to start doing actual critical thinking, you get to realize that Most people just want what's best for the country, and they get all bought in, especially on the left. They get bought into these emotional pleas that make them want to hate our country and hate the way that our society and hate our lineage. But in reality, America is the greatest uplifter of Americans in all of history. If people have an actual conversation where they're not relying on these hard-line talking points that's been told by them by some talking head on CNN, then genuinely they'll realize, well, yeah, I do want more of my money in my pocket. And you're right, I don't want to send money overseas for no pointless reason. And you're right, I don't want our sons and daughters to go die overseas. And that is the way I think we're going to save a country. It's by getting more cigars and more people's hands.
I couldn't possibly agree more. They're also, cigars are very lowercase d democratic. You know, they're a social equalizer. You get blue collar, white collar, all sorts of backgrounds. People come together, good conversation.
Literally
very wise statement. Okay, so go to Madison's website. Madison, excellent to see you as always.
That's it.
Great to see you, Michael.
Do all of that, and then
good to see all of you. I'm Michael Knowles. This is the Michael Knowles Show.
Ahead and get
see you next time.
That information for me. I made all these functions myself.
Friendly fire is back.
Should we ever do this again?
It gets everything
no safe
configuration. So I did it
around
this way.
I don't want your olive branch. Screw you. It's absolutely despicable.
Just doing it based off of
you will get
old traditional way of
whether or not
coding, like a
black
regular
people are
console
disabled.
application.
Supreme Court reliability.
Like I said, I've never done
massive, incredible series, the
like,
Pendragon Cycle.
An injection application from scratch on my own.
This is the thing that sets us apart.
More revelations on the way.
Either it's already done.
I'm not going to play that game.
Nine times out of 10,
No, I don't think that's right.
Well, hold on. Let's just take.
So I always wanted
I totally disagree with it. I
how
have to say
all
that.
that works.
Friendly Fire, October 29th, 7 p.m. Eastern.
The
Friendly
Fire. My job mostly is tell mostly doing backend stuff. I'm still used. That's the reason why I'm used to coding mainly like this, because I don't really touch any front end stuff or that type of thing. But I don't know. I just always thought that dependency injection was
required, no
a
hidden
really
fees,
cool
no
feature.
membership fees. Affordable compounded
C#
GLP-1
has,
plans
and I
with
wanna
the same
have-
active ingredient as Ozempic and Wegovy,
Use it.
plus access to unlimited online messaging with licensed providers
It's
trained in
learning
weight
curve,
management.
but
Simple
that was
all-in pricing.
pretty
Ongoing
cool.
care included at no extra
In our
cost. Free shipping
subscription.
right to your door if
That's
prescribed.
pretty cool.
Take the free assessment to get started today.
I also don't like how normally, because I'm just a person who likes to have things clearly defined, strongly defined. I hate things like are. I don't like that. Obviously, I know this is a by hosting. I can easily just turn this into a string. Like this is gonna be a string. It won't mess up. How I know, just tell me at the end, so I can see this.
Could it be you? Possibly. Have you made a
This
decision yet?
returns.
No, but you say in your book, I'm not done.
That is
Alright,
correct. I am not done. I have lived my entire career a life of service, and it's in my bones. And there are many ways to serve. I've not decided yet what I will do in the future beyond what I am doing right now.
Should she explore around Michael?
Hold on. All right, that's enough. You
No,
can throw to me,
I think
Michael. I'll be the Michael that you throw to, lady. She's not running. She's not running. That's a totally misleading headline coming from that meager little interview. All Kamala Harris says is there will be a woman president someday. And then the interviewer pushes her. Says, "Well,
go
will
back
that be you?" And she seems to get defensive almost. She goes, "Maybe."
The
Yeah. Are you going to run? I haven't decided yet. She's just trying to deflect it and move on. But in your book, you say that you're not done with politics yet. And Kamala says, "Yeah, that's true."
Okay,
so
we're
you're
gonna
going to run?
call
I don't know.
Which part is done?
She
Let's
moves on.
comment
First of all,
everything.
Kamala Harris almost certainly did not write that book. And Kamala Harris almost certainly doesn't even know what is in the book. I don't know for certain. I just know, having known a lot of politicians and political figures, most of them don't actually write their books. They hire ghostwriters. Kamala Harris doesn't understand how to use the English language. I don't think she wrote the book. Okay. And so in it, she apparently says, "I'm not done with politics yet." And that's it. She's just trying to move on. This is, at best, Sarah Palin in 2009. Remember, Sarah Palin runs in 2008 for the vice presidency. McCain loses. And then there are all these questions. Is she going to run again? Is she going to run again? And she kept leaving the door open because, one, maybe she wanted the opportunity to. And also, just having the door open leads to other opportunities, speaking opportunities, abilities to influence the party platform, yada, yada, yada. That's what Kamala's doing. But even Kamala, who I'm not saying is the sharpest tool in the shed, even Kamala looks at the poll numbers, realizes no chance. So right now, as far as I'm concerned, Gavin Newsom is leading the pack. Though other people want to run to AOC, clearly is setting herself up to potentially run for president. And looking at one of AOC's buddies there in New York, liberal Democrat in New York, you have Zohran Mamdani.
Wow, I just posted my job, and ZipRecruiter is on it. It finds active, qualified candidates with the exact skills I'm looking for. I can't believe how I used to do it before.
Carl, none of these candidates are qualified. Wrong skills, wrong experience. I don't know where to put this person. This guy was a cat influencer.
Now, I'm getting people who are...
Mamdani, who is the Muslim communist, who will probably be the next mayor. Well, he's taking on the issue of Islam head on. He is sick of the Islamophobia in New York, and he has identified the real victims of the September 11th terror attacks. We'll get to that momentarily. First, though, I want to tell you about Cowboy Colostrum. Go to cowboycolostrum.com/Knowles. Bloating and gut discomfort are incredibly common issues that millions of people deal with daily. Even when following all the standard advice, eating slower, walking after meals, avoiding processed food, sometimes you still just feel awful. That is where Cowboy Colostrum comes in. This liquid gold is packed with proteins, natural growth factors, and antimicrobial peptides that enhance immune response, reduce inflammation, and repair your gut lining. Cowboy Colostrum offers the highest quality bovine colostrum available, 100% made in America from 100% American grass-fed cows. They source from the first milking and only collect surplus after calves get their fill. Unlike other brands, they don't overprocess it, keeping it whole and full fat for maximum nutrient density. Simply add a 3-gram scoop of their delicious chocolate, Madagascar vanilla, or strawberry flavors to your coffee or smoothie. Plus, as an added bonus, the natural growth factors and peptides in Cowboy Colostrum will make your hair and skin look amazing. Mr. Davies swears by this stuff, okay? And he's a big, gigantic Giga Chad. So if you want to look like him for a limited time, our listeners get up to 25% off their entire order. Go to cowboycolostrum.com/Knowles, K-N-W-L-E-S. Use code Knowles, K-N-W-L-E-S at checkout. That's 25% off when you use code Knowles at cowboycolostrum.com/Knowles. After you purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support the show and tell them that we sent you. I have some magnificent news for your home. My best-selling pumpkin spice latte candle, PSL, is getting a refresh just in time with all that fall weather coming up in full swing, all new, a little bit bigger, a little bit. You're getting more candle for your buck in a beautiful glass vessel. Look at that. Let me just... Boy, oh boy. I love sweater weather, and I got 3 reasons for you. PSL. Go get yours at thecandleclub.com/Michael. Michael. Zohran Mamdani, future mayor of New York, has just identified the real victims of 9/11.
I want to use this moment to speak to the Muslims of the city. I want to speak to the memory of my aunt, who stopped taking the subway after September 11th because she did not feel safe in her hijab. I want to speak to the Muslim city worker, whether they teach in our schools or walk the beat for the NYPD. New Yorkers who all make daily sacrifices on behalf of this city only to see their leaders spit in their face. I want to speak to every child who grows up in New York marked as the other, who is randomly selected in a way that rarely feels random, who feels that they carry a stain that can never quite be cleaned. Growing up in the shadow of 9/11, I have known what it means to live with an undercurrent of suspicion. I will always remember the disdain I faced, the way my name could immediately become Muhammad, and how I could return to my city only to be asked in a double-mirrored room at the airport if I had any plan of attacking it. And since I was very young, I have known that I was spared the worst of it. I was never pressured to be an informant like a classmate of mine. I've never had the word terrorist spray painted on my garage.
Nice.
The real victims, you see. This goes on for like 6 minutes.
That's pretty cool.
I can't say I encourage you to watch the whole thing, but he just goes on and on and on.
call it a night.
Really, it
One
all
day
could
we're
have been
gonna just take
summed
a
up
day at a time, guys.
with a
Day
very, very brief Norm Macdonald bit. Norm doing a joke,
eventually we will
Zoran Mamdani doing it for real.
finished.
Well, I can't say my friend's name, but he's